Of course, I didn't wake up till almost 2.
And why did you not wake up till almost 2?
Because I didn't go to bed till almost 2.
Okay. So this is explaining a lot more about why we didn't have a D&D session this morning.
Well, that we only had 3 people.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just you, Foxy, and Brokebutt.
Okay.
Ducky wanted to sleep in. She could have been there, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then Monkey told us last week he wouldn't be there this week. And I haven't heard from Kuya in 2 weeks.
Huh. Has he been streaming?
Nope.
Well, that's difficult.
Like, he's not even on my list of direct messages. He's so far down.
Wow. I mean,
Well,
he's probably
okay.
not on mine.
I scroll down one and he's the next one, still.
He's probably not on mine either. But I mean,
well,
I don't DM.
That's more your fault.
I don't DM hardly anybody except for like you and Masters and now Friendly.
Oh, so you messaged me so much you have to name me twice?
Yeah, pretty much. This isn't. I sent a couple things to Monkey.
Yeah, you and Monkey are my top 2 generally.
How far down is Masters? Or yeah, your Masters. Which one? How far down is Kuya? See, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Last message was in July. And
it's not too bad.
And he reached out to send me the picture of him in the Sailor Moon wig, yeah.
It's not a Sailor Moon wig.
It looks like a Sailor Moon wig. That's close enough. That's bad enough. We don't need anything worse than that.
Oh.
People complain about my mutton chop picture.
Let's see here. I really wanted him to get this one.
Okay, let's see what this is. This is, oh Lord. Yeah, I can see why he didn't get that.
This one was also on my list.
Danganronpa. I never saw Danganronpa, which is kind of okay. Oh, that would have been great. Trump.
This is the one he ended up going with. It's not quite Sailor Moon.
Yeah, pretty close. It's close enough.
And then I also had a Princess Leia one I sent him.
Mm-hmm.
And then just a Joe Dirt mullet one.
I kind of wish he'd done the Trump one. That would have been funny.
That would have been funny.
He has no sense.
But he didn't necessarily choose. He told us we only had 1 submission per person.
Mm-hmm.
And I submitted 5.
Okay.
And he was like, no, you can only submit 1. But then everybody was like, well, I kind of like that one that Masters did. And it was the one that he ended up getting.
Okay.
Nobody else sent him any. He was like, fine, send me the link.
I mean, it's a horrific picture, but
it's a glorious picture. I don't know what you're talking about.
Good taste. That's what I'm talking about. That's actually something we need to talk about tonight. Good taste.
Good taste?
Good taste.
So food or clothing or accoutrement?
A bunch of things that you apparently think that I have poor taste on.
Names being one of them?
Names being one of them. Also,
your profile picture?
That's the one. By the way, did you look up the puppet Avatar: The Last Airbender thing?
I've seen it.
Oh, I had never seen this before. I just watched it yesterday, the whole series. It was one of them.
I didn't watch the whole series. I've only seen a bit of it.
It is one of
just
them.
like,
I thought it was glorious. Like, I loved it so much. And apparently the guy just made like 2 more like 2 days ago. So he's still making them.
I haven't seen it in forever, so.
Yeah, so for those who are not aware, there is a Avatar: The Last Airbender puppet series. It's called Puppet Bending, and you can find it on YouTube. There's like 10 episodes, and it's all just meta jokes, and it is just glorious, absolutely glorious. Yeah. If you like Avatar,
this guy grew up on the Muppets.
If you like Avatar or you like the Muppets, either one, you don't have to like both, but especially if you like both, You need to check this out. It is fantastic. I enjoyed it so much. I'll probably watch it again.
You're making me want to go watch it. But right now, I'm busy binging everything I possibly can on Netflix.
You got Netflix back?
My account has been unused long enough that I got another 30-day trial.
Okay.
And so I am binge watching the crap out of everything.
I have something else you should add to your list.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as good as Avatar, but it's made by the same folks. You should watch Dragon Prince.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Casters may have pointed me towards that. Somebody has said that before, so I will definitely forget to do that. But I will add it to my. I also like how you have just starting the podcast before we actually get in a phone call together.
Oh no, I don't do that.
Oh, you didn't do that. When did you start it then?
Well, tonight I started about 6 minutes ago when you were talking about not getting up until 2.
Ah.
I think that's the first thing that got recorded. I don't know. My computer's a little bit slow in the uptake sometimes for that one.
So the opening format of this is us jumping in a call together, starting a conversation, and then at some point you just randomly hit record.
Yep, pretty much. Whenever I think there's like, this is a good spot to just start. And
and last week that was a 6-minute bow of silence. You thought that was a good time to start?
Well, I was just like, he'll come back, and then you didn't come back, and then you still didn't come back. I'm like, wait a second, is he actually just still there? He might still be there. So I just like, hey, Masters, you there? So, it's all about just how you find, so I'm like, we could put in the work and the effort, get some poor guy off of Fiverr to make us an intro, and we could play the little intro and be like, this is the name to be redesigned, to be reformatted and designed podcast.
Oh, so we should talk about that.
We will in a second here. But like, everybody has some big intro, even like, from the top down, from like Joe Rogan to PKA to name any podcast out there, like big production value.
Good,
and I'm like,
mythical morning.
And I'm like, we have 2 guys, 2 microphones, about
don't go there.
850 miles between us, something like that. I don't know. And we just make it work, right? I think it works. I think that there's no further effort needed.
No.
This might just be me.
Yeah, we're there.
This might just be me being.
Hey, you weren't far off. It's only 750 miles.
Missed it by 100 miles. Yeah.
To be fair, you didn't come to Alabama. You went through Georgia.
This is true.
So that was probably a longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was just for comedic effect, really, to show how distant we were in terms of trying to make things, but it didn't work very well. Now you stepped all over it. It's no good. So,
well, that's what I do. That's what I'm here for.
Also, I have succeeded this year in something that I try to do every year in 3 out of 4 scenarios. I do not like to celebrate my birthday. My birthday has now passed. And in 3 of 4 potential places where it might be celebrated, I have prevented it from being celebrated, which is 2 more than I did last year, which is fantastic.
Sweet. So this year for my birthday, I was talking to my mother before my birthday, and she said, "So what are we doing for your birthday?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "I don't know what you're doing, but I'm doing nothing." And she said, "You can't do nothing on your 30th birthday." And I said, "Watch me." And then on my 30th birthday, I went to work. I came home. I did nothing. And then she called me the next day. "So how was your do nothing birthday?" And I was like any other day, like it should be.
Yeah.
Birthdays are not exceptional in any way. I did nothing. If anything, we should have a party for the mother.
So that is actually how I still. The one thing I couldn't get away from was the family, because the family Yeah. There's just
Yeah, well, I live an hour and a half away, so
I'm getting
I
closer.
can get away with it.
So I went out to eat with my mother on my birthday, which is good, and it did kind of end up being kind of for her. We went to a really nice restaurant, and and she likes really nice restaurants. There was Italian food, which she also likes. It was good. But aside from that, I have largely avoided all birthday celebrations this year. Yay for me. That being said, the reason I'm late tonight, because I'm late tonight, we try to start these at about the same time, and didn't work out so well tonight because of.
I didn't realize that until you told me last week.
You didn't realize that we always started at 9:00.
Nope.
This explains why you keep messaging me at weird times, like along Saturdays. Like, are we doing this? And like, it's 6:30. Why are you messaging me? I'm about to go to bed. What kind of old man are you?
I'm a very old man. Yes. Actually, since I slept till 2 today, I'm actually fine.
Okay.
So
I would hope so.
I'm not tired at all. Well, I say that I'm always tired.
Yeah.
Sleep is my superpower, and actually made myself get up. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I understand a little bit about that sleep being your superpower thing. It used to be my real superpower. I could do it better than anybody.
I don't know. Even when you had problems going on, I think I still could have outslept you.
It's a shame we will not have the opportunity to compare. It's actually really weird. I have some days I'll get like enough sleep, and it'll be like, okay, I've slept for 8-10 hours, whatever it is, and I feel good. Most days I don't get that much, and I just feel terrible. And then other days I'll get like 4 hours, maybe, and I feel great. Yeah. And I don't understand that at all.
Well, it comes down to the science of sleep. You go through a complete cycle every hour and a half.
Yep.
And so if you can wake up at the end of a cycle,
yep,
then you feel fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wake up at any other point, then you don't feel fine. And it doesn't stop. I think that's my perpetual problem, is that I always wake up in the middle of a sleep cycle.
Deep in the depths of REM sleep, Masters was woken from his hibernatory slumber. Yes.
Yes.
And grumbled like
another weird thing.
Yes.
Black Panther died yesterday.
I did see that. I was that was
I saw it and I was like, wait, what? No. He's too young. And I was like, what happened? And I looked, colon cancer. Got it.
He's had colon cancer since he played Black Panther.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would never have guessed that.
Nope.
Like, I mean, I guess when it first came on, when it first came on, it would have been like stage 3. They would have just started treating him. That wouldn't have been like that life altering at that point. But I mean, like, still, wow. That's a lot. I mean, feel very sorry for his family and everything else like that. Just like,
yeah,
this is crazy.
I can't imagine anybody else being Black Panther.
I did have a very bad joke moment earlier. I thought that they should bring back Terrence Howard, who was the original Rhodey, and have him take over.
Oh, speaking of the original, I did not, and I messaged you this. So I told you I've been binge watching Netflix. So I started with the CW shows, catching up on all of those.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize that Barry Allen's dad, or his alter ego, his other Earth selves, was the original Flash from the 90s TV show.
Mm-hmm.
It did not occur to me until he died, spoiler alert, in a recent one, and they did a flashback using footage from that TV series or movie. I don't know which one it's from, but he did a TV series for I think 1, maybe 2 seasons, and then he did a movie, and they used footage from that in a flashback. And I was like at first I was like, wow, that is really good CG. I didn't realize they had the budget to age somebody down. And then I went, oh, no, that's original footage. I can see the grain in the film.
Yeah.
And then I went back and looked it up, and I was like, holy crap. How is that an Easter egg I've never put together?
Well, that's something I saw. I mean, not that, but something like that. I'd seen it years ago. There's a show called Boston Legal, and it had William Shatner playing this Boston lawyer who was kind of the worst kind of human being on the planet, but also very entertaining in how he was. It was wonderful. And somehow or another, like they had this one episode that was like focusing on his career because he was kind of like at the end of his career in mental decline. He had Alzheimer's, all kinds of stuff going on. They're talking about how like he got started, and somehow or another they pulled up this video of him as like young William Shatner playing a lawyer, making the exact same kind of arguments he was making on the show. And I'm like, where on earth did that clip come from? And then like yesterday on his Twitter, Bill Shatner like said, oh yeah, it's from this movie that I did in this year, and yada yada. And I'm like, well, now I have a new thing to put on my watch list because I love Bill Shatner. He's amazing. Just absolutely glorious. Oh, and I didn't realize this, but apparently Disney saw this coming, and they already have announced the replacement for Black Panther like back in January.
I don't like that.
They didn't tell anyone why. They just said they were replacing him. Do you know who the replacement is?
I will in just a few seconds.
I already know. Bam.
Oh, okay. I'm fine with that.
Yep.
That's fine.
Yep. For those who aren't seeing our screens, which is all of you, you have to look it up. We are the worst podcast on the internet.
Wait, are they announcing that? Because all I can see is people wanting them to.
I'll send you the link. This was an announcement. I mean, I don't know how accurate Sausage Roll is in terms of a news reporting site, but this was already something that was kind of in the works. Yeah.
I mean, it 100% makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm 1,000% on board with that.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with this for a number of reasons.
Well, I don't know. It's going to change Black Panther a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because she wasn't a fighter.
You're giving it away.
Not in the same sense.
Hey.
What'd you say?
I said you're giving it away. I already said we're not saying who this is.
Oh. Too late. I've already spoiled it. If I knew her name, I would have already said it.
But yeah, I think this is a good change. I like this. Again, multiple reasons. I think this will be good. I mean, it's terrible that Chadwick Boseman died. I really, really, really enjoyed his performance as Black Panther.
Absolutely.
I know we were just, what was it, like 2 weeks ago, we were just dumping on the CGI at the end of the movie, but
that's not his fault, though.
I know that's not his fault. His performance was spot on. I did have another bad idea though. I mean, since Disney has this thing apparently with replacing iconic actors that play iconic characters with the villains who have gone against those iconic characters, I thought maybe they should get Michael B. Jordan to come in and replace him. Because Michael B. Jordan was the guy who played Killmonger in Black Panther, and he died.
Yes.
So he's available to take another MCU role.
Oh, is that a Kermit reference?
That's a Kermit reference.
Okay, so we've already brought the Muppets into this. How about we bring D&D into this?
We already talked about that too. We didn't have a D&D game this morning.
Oh, you're right.
And before 20 minutes, we have them both in. We are good to go.
We've established our quota. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now let's get back on the topic of your ugly profile picture that has not changed since I've known you.
My profile picture has not changed since like 2009 when I forget even what the app was that came out. It was like Miiverse or something like that for your phone. It was Nintendo's first mobile app, and you basically just made a Mii, or you imported your Mii, and then you put them in weird positions and took pictures. That's pretty much the whole point of it. You collected outfits and stuff to put on them, and I did some playing around. I like made the background there, and I was trying to figure out a way to make him look crazy, like off the wall, stupid crazy, and that is what I came up with.
He looks like he's doing the doom ba doom ba doom ba doo doo doom. You know, that swaying, snapping.
That
dance.
is not what he's doing at all. You might hear. I'll send you actually like the root picture.
I see.
So there's a lot going on in this picture. Yeah. So he's like, as you can see, he's kind of like on this little like hill mound here, and the pose that he's in, because you could pose them different ways, but they were all like pre-programmed. This was, you could have him have your little Mii do like a pitch, as like pitching a ball, and this was the end of the pitching animation. And I caught him at just the right time, and I stopped it, and I took the picture, and I thought it was amazing. I made it my profile picture, and it has been ever since like 2009.
I've never noticed the stars in his eyes.
It is kind of small on typical profile picture size, but yeah, that was a thing. I don't know why that was a thing, but that was a thing.
Yeah. I look at this picture in a completely new light now.
Mm-hmm.
Please change it.
But what do I mean? So, let me see if I can find it. There's a couple. Like I said to you earlier this week, there's been a couple ideas I've had for changing.
Have I sent you the commission?
I don't know.
I've sent you the concept art that I sent him. Let me send you the current progress of this.
Mm-hmm.
This is where he's at with it right now.
Okay, gotcha.
And I am loving it. We got the last time he worked on it, we got the hat down, so the hat's pretty much finalized.
Okay.
And then he made the beard a little bit more crazy. It was a lot more tame in the original one he sketched. But all of the hat is going to be patchwork, and then all of his clothes are going to be patchwork.
So you're gonna hate me.
Clothing.
And
then he's going to have flip flops.
You're gonna absolutely hate me.
Uh-huh.
Because this reminds me of something.
Okay. Is it the guy you think I look like?
Nope.
Okay.
It does not look like Vincent D'Onofrio. It looks like Pappy from Popeye.
Yes. Yes, I'm okay with that. I am 100% on board with that. Yes.
I mean, that's like spot on. I'm
okay with this. I accept your assessment.
That is that's tough.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah, that's just fun. Wait a second, was that James Coburn? I gotta find this out now. So Robin Williams made a live action Popeye movie. It's one of those movies that's like so bad it's good, but I
loved it.
But it's also just great in its own right for all the wrong reasons. I love that movie. To me it's an evergreen. I'll watch it anytime I can. Yeah. Let me see. Where's this?
It's not showing up on his list from what I can.
90 Popeye the Sailor.
Of course, I'm looking.
1980.
Not looking at his.
This one? Yeah. This.
His.
Okay. So 1980. Who played Pappy?
Not him.
Sweet Pea, Roughhouse, Taxman, Bluto, Wimpy, Poop Deck, Ray Walston. Who is Ray Walston? I don't know. Mad Jack. Mad Jack sounds really familiar. Who is Mad Jack? I need to know.
See. I don't know any of these movies.
Oh, okay. I do know who this is. Yeah. All right. Okay. So yeah, I do know who this guy is. I thought in the picture that came up when I first searched for Pappy, it came up with this picture of this guy who looked dramatically like James Coburn, and I'm like, I don't think that was actually James Coburn. Who is this guy? Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, if you guys, again, another one of those things. If you ain't seen the 1980 Popeye movie, it's time to start looking. It comes up on, it actually does come up on Netflix, like maybe once or twice a year. It's pretty cool. Just a great fun film. Anyway, I'm trying to find the picture that I had looked for, that I found initially like years ago, that I was trying to get someone to make.
Oh, it's currently on Amazon Prime.
Ah,
I knew I'd seen it somewhere.
Yeah, it's worth a watch. I genuinely enjoy Popeye.
Oh, it's also free on Pluto TV and Crackle.
Nice. Here we go. Let's see if I can find the picture. It has been years since I looked this. There it is. So, I had this idea, and this is kind of what I wanted someone to base it off of.
Yes, I love that.
So, yes. I found this picture of a Sasquatch, and he's wearing a green suit and a purple tie. And I had kind of this idea that, you know, you'd have a Sasquatch, but I would change the facial expression a little bit. I'd probably make his face a little bit more human than what it is right now. Maybe even use my face for a little bit of a reference there.
Yep.
And just kind of have like this sort of, that same kind of magnanimous smile, but less egregiously over-exaggerated.
Very over-exaggerated. For those of you that don't know what the words that Gavisas used are.
I'm gonna throw this actually in the memes section of my Discord in case anyone wants to go check it out. There's a link to that description down below to join my Discord. Except if you're watching on Spotify or Amazon Podcast, whatever it is, because you can listen on there now too. Woohoo! We are somewhat official. This is the most official podcast I've ever done.
Amazon Podcast?
Yeah, it was easy to get stuff put on there through Podbean. That's all I got.
Oh, so Podbean is the service that you used?
Yeah, Podbean is the hosting site, and then you can use it to post it on other distributors. That's all I got.
It's not showing up on
Podbean?
Amazon.
It definitely should be. Was it Amazon or was it something else? No, it's definitely Amazon. All right, let's go Podbean. I don't want to do this. Log in.
But speaking of, we have got. It's looking up podcast apps. That's what it's showing me here. No, I want to see actual.
We have 3 listens. Yay!
They're probably all sass.
No, they're probably all friendly. Which is, I feel very sad for him. Let's see, episode list. What was I doing? Oh yeah, distribution. It's on Spotify and Amazon Music / Audible. Amazon Music. That's where you find it. It may eventually get on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, TuneIn, Alexa. I just have to figure out how to actually do that. And I haven't had the time and or inclination to do that. So, yeah.
I'm surprised you did this.
You know, I could put it on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Deezer. That's interesting. I'm sure those probably cost money to do, so we probably won't be doing those. All of the free ones we may eventually be on, but for right now,
Well, it wasn't free.
well, okay. But I mean, like, the ones that don't make you pay extra money on top of that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. You get what you mean what I know.
Hey, that's my friend.
I know. That's why I used it. There was something else I was talking with another guy today about. Do you ever notice, like, you hang around somebody and they say this one thing over and over and over again, and then, like, after hanging around them for a couple of weeks, you start saying the same thing? It's just part of your regular conversation without thinking about it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Apparently, I've picked up on one of your phrases. I don't remember which it is, but I used it one night, and you were like, "That's my thing."
Hello, hole?
No, I definitely say that all the time. It was something else that I said.
Don't feel the love?
Because I know hello hole is your thing.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? What was the thing you just said?
I don't feel the love?
No.
Okay. That used to be my big thing. And before hello hole became an issue. I didn't mean for that to be a thing either.
So people use it on my Twitch account, on my when I stream.
Mm-hmm.
They use it to scare me.
Hello hole?
Because I'm easily startled.
Okay.
Apparently, especially when I'm really focused. I have a button that they can press that does the hello hole, and it has a little animation of Alice falling into the rabbit hole.
I really should work on getting that song done too.
Yes, you should. And every time they press it, it scares me unless I'm really thinking about listening for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
Yep. It's it kind of took on a life of its own. It was a meme in its proper right. It was not intended to be, but I guess it did. What was that? So I know where I picked that up actually. Like hello hole, that's me. But the kind of like the cadence of saying it and the idea for it, it was marginally intentional because I was watching one of the old Walt Disney shorts, and Goofy's walking around just like saying hello this and hello that, like hello flower, hello squirrel,
Yes,
hello.
yep.
and like so
yeah,
I fell down. I'm like, oh hello hole, and then it just became its own thing.
Oh, I can see that.
It happened enough. And continues to happen enough that it kind of has a life of its own. Which again, that's how memes go, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was a meme to 50 people. I'm very proud of myself.
At least 50 people.
At least 50 people at one point or another.
And it's actually growing because I introduced the song to other people, and they are now demanding that you finish it.
You know, that's a problem.
I really like this picture you sent, by the way.
Oh, the Sasquatch one?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm like I said, it was an idea, but I never really got it to come to fruition. I wanted him to be kind of like kind of just like an open. So the picture I sent, he looks very insincere, like very insincere. He looks like a used car salesman.
He really does. Like, step into my office. I'll make you a deal, I promise.
You'll never see a car that runs quite like this one, as long as you live.
You'll never see a forest quite as open as this one. You can fish in this lake if you just sign right here.
Let me show you this bridge that I just found. Yeah. It was a working idea, and I gave it to a couple people, and they gave me some feedback on it, and they even drew up a couple of mock-ups, but nothing that I've sent out or that has come back to me in regards to this has really struck me as being good.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it was good, I suppose, but it wasn't really what I was looking for.
So what is the amount of money that you were willing to pay these people?
We hadn't gotten to that point of the negotiation. I think like this was years ago before this was like a decade ago before it kind of became its own thing online where you were commissioning people, where everybody was commissioning somebody to get some sort of thing done. So back then I was offering some guy like 50, $60, something like that. But yeah, and he didn't work on it very long. And it was, he didn't do it professionally. He didn't do it very long. Yeah, it's just kind of a weird situation. I've seen that joke before, Masters. You're not going to get me with that.
Maybe a little closer to home then.
Well, that's just sad. That's a man who's trying to win his way back into the house tonight. I'm going to start dropping some of these pictures in my Discord, just for so people can kind of somewhat keep up or go back and see them if they want to. But yeah, that's a man who's just trying to get back inside. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that about your mother. Please let me back in. It's cold out here. That might have gone too far. Yeah, that was just bad. We're not putting that one on my Discord.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
I can't tell by her face if she knows what it says or if she doesn't know what it says.
She had that made, apparently, according to the post.
Okay.
It's Clemson University.
Yeah, but does she know what it says or does she not know what it says? It kind of looks like she doesn't know what it says.
She doesn't. Yeah, no, she doesn't know.
Okay. That one's
at least not in this picture. Maybe after the picture, but
that one's not going on the Discord because I don't want to admit to that at all. So yeah.
So profile picture needs to change. Need to figure out a way to make that happen.
I mean, the guy that you sent me is okay.
Yeah, based on the picture you sent, it's not really the art style you're looking for.
Well, I'm not even trying to get that level of detail. I would actually kind of prefer him to be more cartoonish, but like a lot more cartoonish. But the guy that you have, he's fantastic and does a lot of really good like motion in his pictures.
Yes.
Like everything is moving, and I don't have that level of energy.
Neither do I. Have you seen the pose he's got me in? Of course, I told him to put me in that pose, but I don't have that level of energy.
You're full on T-posing.
Yes. Yes, I literally sent him a picture of The Greatest Showman and said, "Use this."
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
Precisely. It's more. This picture more represents my inner self, how I see myself, rather than how I actually am.
Okay, so I know exactly how to illustrate. So take the Sasquatch picture that I sent you, right? And let's mix that
with your face,
with a little bit of my face, and then
just a little bit. Not enough that Foxy knows what she looks like if he passes you on the street.
Precisely. And then let's give him just the faintest touch of which one? Let me see. Which is the best version of this to illustrate kind of what there? That's not bad. Let's see. Something along the lines. Ooh, that one's not bad. Oh, but there's a certain expression I'm looking for here too. Think. Oh, nope, that's not it. There we go. So somewhere between the Sasquatch picture that I sent you,
Mm-hmm.
my face,
Yep.
and this guy.
Yes. I approve 100%. Christmas present.
Yeah. I have people commenting in my Discord being like, "What's going on here? Why are all these random pictures?" Yeah, I gotta head that off a little bit.
Ducky, I hope he survived whatever he did.
All right. That'll be somewhat helpful. Then I'll figure it out to a certain. So, like, I want him to have, because the Ghost of Christmas Present has this great presence.
Yes.
Where he's just, yeah, and he's just like, he's very open, he's accepting, and that's kind of the persona I try to portray. But I want like that kind of jovial spirit on a Sasquatch body with a little bit of my face thrown in.
Yeah.
Maybe if I'd have expressed it that way back last time I tried to get this done, I would have had better results, but I didn't. And so, here we are. With still no, with still no other profile picture than the one that I have already, which I still like. I really like my profile picture. And I know, actually, you're not the first person in the last couple of weeks who've been kind of ragging on me about it, but the other people were random people on the internet, and I didn't care about them, so don't really care about you either. But I mean, you know.
Well, that's just the INTJ in you.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Not soon. Now. That's, if you check my announcements, it's available now.
Yes, but not on all of your favorite podcast apps.
Oh. Here we go. Some. I'm sorry. I'm a bad person. You know, there's a point where we just lose all professionalism in the podcast. I think this is the point where we've lost all professionalism. Where
Wait, lost all professionalism? We had professionalism.
I mean, for a podcast, you're supposed to get the conversation going. At this point, we're just commenting on my Discord, being like, "Y'all are idiots," and now they're gonna. And then if any of them come back, and if any of them do actually watch this to the 45-minute mark, they're gonna be like, "Wait a second, they just called us idiots." And
to be honest, they're not that bright, so they're not going to understand we're talking about that.
One of them is my Sunday school kids, and he's actually one of the smartest ones in there.
I know the other one is Ducky. So
okay. I mean, actually, in all honesty, being one of the smartest kids in my Sunday school class, he will give up long before he gets to the 45-minute mark of episode 10.
That's more wisdom than intelligence, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He has high wisdom, high intelligence, pretty good charisma. Let's see.
He's a bard. No, he's not a bard.
He's not a bard.
He's a druid.
Could be a druid.
Maybe a druid. He could be a druid.
Does
he have the strength of a druid?
No.
Or are we demoting him to?
I mean, like, he could if
wizard.
He could have the strength of a druid if he wanted to. But
well, everybody could.
But does he have it right now? I mean, I wouldn't want to get hit by him, but I don't really want to get hit by anybody outside of certain extenuating circumstance.
And you say you don't want to go there.
I mean, we're having that. Okay, so I was supposed to go play golf today, and I didn't do that. Because one of the guys at one of the churches that I go to, which is about to become the only church that I go to, is getting married next weekend. It is the closest I will ever come to a shotgun wedding because it's not like anything untoward has been happening, but in terms of trying to keep things kosher, it's going to be, they're getting married, which is good.
So it's not a let's get married before you start showing. It's more of a let's get married before you start showing.
No, that like they're very much on the up and up, 100%. But
no, but I'm saying I'm maybe I wasn't clear in my inflection. Saying that if it goes on much longer without them being married, it might end up that way.
No, they're very 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 self-controlled, and they are doing things 100% correctly. The reason that like they're supposed to get married next May, but they moved up the time frame to next weekend, because she already has a couple of kids, and they're not going back to school. And so she can't work and take care of the kids at the same time. And he's like, well, I have enough money to support both of us. Let's just get married. And everyone's like, well, we don't know if we're going to be in all that different place in next May anyway. Sure. Sounds like a great idea. Let's do it. So we had a bachelor barbecue.
Then how is that a shotgun wedding then?
Like I said, it's the closest I'm ever going to come. We don't have those anymore. Now they're just like, I don't know. I rolled around with like 6 or 7 women this weekend. I don't know any of their names. Hope they don't find my address in case something happens. Kind of. It's like that's where we are right now. So in terms of, because nobody cares anymore about decorum and decency. Most people don't care anymore about decorum and decency. Most people. Anyway. So, change my mind.
No, I'm not going to change your mind. Just that my thoughts are probably different from yours on that regard.
Okay.
That's a topic not for this podcast.
Ooh, the podcast to be renamed After Dark episodes.
Speaking of being renamed, let's jump on that topic, because since we have now branched out to becoming the Other Things podcast, bringing it to you via your favorite podcast app.
Some of your favorite podcast apps.
Of your favorite podcast apps. Hopefully all of them soon, TM.
Some of your favorite podcasts.
Some of them may not welcome us if we have the same name as somebody else, and there's already the Other Things podcast out there, and they're on episode 38.
How big is their audience? Because I didn't look.
I didn't look either. All I saw was episode 38.
So I have two things about this. Sure, there may be another Other Things podcast.
They have a website. I
don't care. So there's two things. Number one, they may not have a big enough audience to really make a fuss about it. The other thing is that we don't.
They're basically just us.
The other thing is that they don't have a big enough audience, or we don't have a big enough audience.
Oh, they're on episode 32. My bad.
Like, how are they ever going to notice us? I don't know. Oh.
This is season 3, episode 32.
Oh, wow. They must think there's something special.
Okay, never mind. It's episode 32 overall, but season 3, so I don't know how that works. Oh, and they don't, looks like they do 2 a month, maybe? I don't know I don't know what their scheduling is based on the dates I have here in front of me.
Wait, are we looking at the same one? Because this one says like 2 Jesuits talking on their website.
Yes.
Okay. Also, they basically just copied and pasted their logo from the Young Turks. So if they're going to talk about copyright infringement, I think they have other problems beyond us.
No. I'm not saying that they would try and do something against us. I'm saying that the podcast people, like the platforms we're trying to put it on, may go, well, we already have one with that name, so we're going to reject yours because we already have one.
Oh, well, they haven't rejected us yet, but I mean, I guess. I mean, and then we also looked it up. I know you looked it up to make sure that we couldn't use it because you're a potty pooper.
God.
There is actually a Two Guys One podcast. Yeah.
Thank God. I don't know if we've actually talked about that here. Yes, we did.
Yes, we
did.
It
was on podcast that we talked about.
It was
that.
definitely.
Yeah, no. Just no.
I thought that was great.
No.
So there's a couple other ideas that are thrown around. Sasquatch Family Reunion podcast. You're like talking with Sasquatch. I'm like, I don't want to be the focus. I want the focus to be off me as much as possible, because when the podcast is actually playing and people listening, I talk a lot, in case it hadn't come across to you at this point. So there's enough focus on me enough as it is. I also threw in hatting the Squatch, because it's the Mad Hatter, and or my personal favorite so far, bearded above and below.
No. No, I don't like the connotation of that.
What? You're bearded above, I'm bearded below.
Exactly. I don't like the connotation of that. I don't want to think about your bearded below. And now the audience is thinking, I'm sorry, Sasquatch.
We have two people now we have to apologize. You would apologize to Sasquatch and to Friendly.
Well,
if Friendly gets as far.
We're gonna need to confirm that it's Friendly. Okay.
I can confirm he subscribed to us on Podbean.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's a thing.
Well, I'm not apologizing to him. He should have known full well what he was getting himself into.
But I'm playing a cleric. I'm supposed to be the good person.
Yes, but I'm his DM.
Who murdered people and committed... Yeah. Fun. So yeah, we are currently...
But my personal favorite, that was also... so as we were talking about this, I was actually watching Scuba's art. The one that is doing my commission.
Mm-hmm.
And I typed in his chat and I said, so, totally hypothetical, because you're not supposed to advertise in other people's chats. So totally hypothetical. If two people were to start a podcast, not saying that we are, but if two people were to start a podcast and one of them was their brand, quote unquote, was around Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter, and the other one was being a Sasquatch, what would you name the podcast? And he absolutely died laughing when I asked this. And he said Mad and Hairy. And I love it. I just do. I'm mad, you're hairy, but it's also, it could be, mad has so many different thought processes to it. It can be mad as in crazy, which is what I like it for, but it also can be mad as in you in Star Wars.
This is true.
And then we're both hairy.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like the Mad and Hairy, but then I messaged him, or I was chatting back, and I said, I like it, still theoretically.
I have bad news for you. There's already a Mad and Hairy podcast.
No, I looked it up after he said it.
Let me find it again. I just saw it. Where'd it go? All right, I have to reopen those tabs. Where did this go? Where on earth did this thing go?
There's Harry and Married.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let's Get Harry. I'm Not Mad, We're Mad, Harry, and that's still the same thing.
Where on earth did this thing... It was just on the middle of my screen. Where did it go? My eyes are playing tricks on me.
Did it come from Discord?
Nope.
Because that's where it's at. Discord. It's the only place that I've found it.
Where is this thing? Look, it's Harry. Like, I have the... I don't know. It disappeared on me. I got nothing. It was there a second ago. It must be so unpopular. But But I kind of lose it. But when we go like Matt and Harry, it kind of loses some of the low effort charm.
How? How?
Because then we're like trying to be clever about it. Oh, there's multiple meanings to Matt. There's multiple meanings to Harry. It could be this. It could be that. It's just like, let's just talk about some other things.
Yes, the Other Things podcast was just perfect, but was also so perfect that somebody else has it.
I do. Like when I first started getting into podcasting, my favorite YouTuber at the time was doing multiple podcasts, and one of the ones that he was doing that I was trying to model some of the things that I was doing off of, that everybody I was doing things with at the time was like, absolutely not, we're not doing that, was called That's Not Why You Called. And it was brilliant. Because when it was based off like call-in shows, and people would like call in, and then they'd start talking about something else that they hadn't called in about. And the canned response for radio hosts is that, well, that's not why you called. Let's get back on topic. And so that kind of became their thing. Whenever they would just like start chasing rabbits, they'd be like, well, that's not why you called. So then they get back on topic. We don't ever get back on topic, so that doesn't work.
No, we never get back on topic.
Absolutely not.
What about what topic? Surely that's not a thing.
That I don't really. It doesn't really roll off the tongue.
It was a playoff of Hot Topic.
I know, but it doesn't really roll off the tongue. It's like, what topic? Unless you
it rolled just then to me.
Unless you have the question mark on there, that might not be too bad. It's just. Naming things is hard unless you have something
it really is.
Unless you have something like definitive to base it off of. So I did a podcast years ago. Please don't look it up. It's not good. I went back and rewatched some of the early episodes last week when I didn't have internet. And it's absolute crap. It is bad. It is very bad. Not just content-wise, like the audio quality is bad, the video quality is bad. Not that there's really any video quality to speak of right now, but it is legitimately and objectively bad. But the name was good, and it was called the Triple Cart Podcast, and it was based around Monster Hunter. And the idea was that, well, in Monster Hunter, when you die, you don't really die, you faint, and then these felines come up and they put you on a stretcher cart and they wheel you back to camp. And so whenever you faint, it's called carting. And if you cart 3 times in a row, you fail the quest, which was largely how all of our quests ended when back in the day. And so
that is how all the quests end. What are you talking about?
What do you mean you can beat the monster? That's not how that works. So yeah.
You mean to tell me there's progression?
That doesn't happen. So yeah, the idea was that it was the Triple Cart Podcast, and it worked really, really, really well as a title. Podcast was bad, but the title was cool. The title was good. So titling things for that without a definite thing to like hang it on, really hard.
Well, the only thing that we have to hang it on is that we're just 2 guys having a conversation. That one's taken though.
Technically, it's the 2 Guys 1 Conversation podcast. Technically, so we could still have.
But it's not one conversation. It's many conversations about many different things.
That's what they do with their thing. I don't care. Our thing. It's 2 Guys 1 Podcast.
No, I don't like it. It references. It's worse than Bearded Above and Below.
Only if you get the reference. Which I hope nobody gets the reference, because it's terrible.
Everybody gets the reference.
I know, it's the internet. It's wonderful. It's wonderful and terrible at the same time.
My goodness, we would get popular for all the wrong reasons.
No, they'd listen to it and go, that is way too catchy a name for this crap.
Well, you're probably not wrong.
We'd get sued for public indecency, not copyright infringement.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I don't like Mad and Harry. It doesn't really just it doesn't grab me. Not bad. Um, but it doesn't have the je ne sais quoi that,
It could if we changed our names to Mad and Harry.
no.
I'm Mads. I'm Harry. And this is our podcast.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
I have
effort.
branding built around being the Sasquatch. Come on.
Oh, I don't know.
Frankly disappointing podcast. um,
Why you got to bring Frank into this? I thought you were letting Frank die.
I mean, there's a very strong argument to be made that you are not talking to Gavi on this podcast. That you are talking to Frank the whole time.
No, I can definitely tell when I'm talking to Gavi. All I gotta do is mention Star Wars.
There's an argument to be made. That is some identity dissonance or something. I don't know. But there's gotta be a name, a good name. Maybe let's farm it out. Who's got a good Sass? Have you got a decent name? Because I got nothing on this one. And Mad and Harry's not really grabbing hold of me here.
Yeah, well, all of your suggestions have intentional, unintentional innuendos.
Oh no, they're very intentional. Let's not let there be any question about that. They are very intentional innuendos. Because I'm a bad person. It's what I do.
How about we just name it Avoiding Innuendos?
Well, I'm not avoiding anything.
I know, and I am.
Have I talked on here on the podcast yet about my my answer to the does this dress make me look fat question?
Yes.
Okay. On the podcast?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Well, we're sitting there today at the barbecue place, and church group, right? That pastor is there, the other pastor is there, and one of them says, "So hey, since we're all here, why don't we have some sort? Does anyone have any words of wisdom for the guy about to get married?" And I couldn't stop myself.
Tell me you didn't.
I couldn't stop myself.
Tell me you didn't.
I could not stop myself.
Way to introduce yourself, Gabby.
So, and like,
this is the new church, not the one that you're leaving, right?
This is the new church with like one pastor who's like, we really want to have you be a part of this. The other one is his father-in-law, who's like this very austere man. He is, and just one of the classier people that I've met. And I could not stop the words from coming out of my mouth. It was so bad. and the head pastor just kind of looks at me and he's like, well, that's very interesting. I've never heard one quite like that before. You'll have to tell me how that goes for you someday. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably not going to go real well. But
about as well as Hello Hole.
Of course, now I realize that I should have told a different story. Because my family is all kind of weird. Not just the super Sasquatchy side of it, but like my mom's side. My grandfather, he was a very, very reserved gentleman. And as he became older and he couldn't hear so well, he became even more reserved of a gentleman. And he went and he lived with my aunt down in Ohio, and we went down to visit him one year, several years ago. And I have a bit of a odd sense of humor, and I like to pick on people.
That's one word for it.
I really like to pick on people, and I've discovered that my mother is very ticklish, discovered this as a child. And as a kid, I thought it was great, and I still think it's a lot of fun to just like tickle my mother because it's hilarious, and she hates it. I'm a bad person. And so I had snuck up behind her, and I had got her right in the armpits, like because that's the best spot. And she grabbed hold of me and like dragged me into the room where my grandfather was, and she says, "Grandpa, tell this boy." What was the exact word? Oh, she drags me and she says, "You need to have a talk with this boy." My grandfather, as I said, was rather hard of hearing. So he did not hear her say, "You need to have a talk with this boy."
Yeah, you've told me.
I haven't told the podcast yet.
Yeah, I'm just now realizing that I've heard this story before.
He heard, "You need to have the talk with this boy." He was rather taken aback at this, and he sat in his chair for just a second, and he looked at me, and he looked at her, and he looked back at me again. And with a very sincere and knowing smile on his face, he said, "It's not that bad." And then my mother realized just what he had heard and what he had said in reference to that. She was horrified. I thought it was hilarious. Still do. For reference, my grandfather fathered 5 children.
So
he really didn't think it was all that bad.
I have a similarly funny story. So growing up, one of the things that one of my youth pastors, I think, it wasn't my former boss person. It was another youth pastor that I had a series where he would split up the boys and the girls, and then he would he would get another bunch of guys would go in the room with the guys, and the girls would go in the room with the girls, and you could ask whatever question you wanted.
I love these
and
sessions.
We wrote them all down in advance and gave them out, and they would answer these questions about whatever topic.
I especially love to teach these. I especially love to teach these sessions. These are so much fun because you can give.
Yeah.
Okay, just throwing this out here. I sometimes have the very, very bad inclination. There's a movie called Kung Pao Enter the Fist, and there's a character in there called Wimp Lo, and I feel somewhat bad about Wimp Lo because he like attacks your fist with his face, and it's like, what is going on here? And then they go into the room with all the masters and stuff who've taught him, karate and kung fu and things, stuff like that. And they said, "We apologize for Wimp Lo. We trained him wrong as a joke." And that is somewhat my. Sometimes I get this irrepressible urge to teach kids wrong because I think it's funny. So I should never be in on these sessions, and I am too often. So guys, go ahead.
Side story. I have always thought it would be hilarious to teach a child when they were very young the wrong word for things, and just teach them wrong information that everybody should know. Like I tried to teach one kid that ducks in the water were rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time we would drive by, there's a bridge going across Gunnersville Lake, where I used to live. And every time we went across, the ducks would be on the water, and he would say, "Look, rocks, rocks." And my parents finally broke him of that, and so he would call them ducks. And I would say, "Look, it's the rocks." And he would say, "No, those are ducks." But I also got him to say, when somebody would ask him, "What sound does a cow make?" he would say, "Eat more chicken." And he did that for probably 2 or 3 years. And then he went to preschool, and the first time he said it to them, they died laughing. About the 100th time they said it to him, it wasn't funny anymore. And so they finally broke him of it, and I couldn't get him to say it after that.
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought it would be funny to like tell a kid, this is a rock when it's actually something else, or this is what a cow says.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've actually done that before, and it's hilarious. Can confirm. But anyways, so one of the questions that came up was, what is the best thing about marriage?
Okay.
Without missing a beat, our then music pastor says sex.
Wow.
Without missing a beat. He read the question and immediately said it.
I
And
love
everybody was aghast.
I,
It gets better.
okay. Go ahead.
About 2 years later, he came out gay.
Ooh. Wow. That's kind of a turnaround there, isn't it?
It's like, was it really the best thing? It's
Wow.
like, that sounded like now that I think about it, that sounded like a program response.
Oh man. So there's a book out, it's called His Needs, Her Needs, and it's written by this fantastic psychologist who, I think we talked about this a little bit before. Whether on or off the podcast, I can't remember. But his the thrust of his book is that people have talked so much about communication in terms of marriage, that if all you ever teach people is how to communicate, then at some point the thing that they're going to communicate very well and in no uncertain terms to the other person is, I don't love you anymore, I want a divorce. And that's what we see a lot in like divorce courts and things like that. And he says, so I'm going to take a totally different tactic about this. I'm going to find out what is important.
You've talked about this on the podcast before.
Okay, well, I didn't realize it was on the podcast. That was just whatever. Anyway, I'm
fairly certain.
For those who are skipping around like intelligent people or unintelligent people, one of the two.
Sass, tell us, have we talked about this before on the podcast?
Please confirm. Because this might have been on the one that didn't get recorded.
It may have been. Which has happened more than once, I will point out.
It's a lot to do. Well, no, I think it only happened once. There's only one time I think that I pressed record button and it didn't actually record, which would have technically...
We recorded an entire podcast.
Yes.
And then after we got done, you were like, Then there was another one where it didn't start at the beginning and we had to restart.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
So there has been at least 2 times.
Okay. I sit corrected. Anyway, in case this was not recorded at any point, the idea is that he went to men and he went to women and says, okay, well, what is important to you about marriage? And so women are like, oh, I want to know that he loves me, I want him to do this, I want to do that. And guys, like, the number one answer is like, I want sex. And they're just like, you know what, I want if she cooks, if she cleans, we can work on that. But like, this is like the most important thing. And so he designed a marriage counseling program around what people actually want to get out of marriage. And he would have the guys, they would have to fulfill certain responsibilities. The women would have to fulfill certain responsibilities for a period of time. And if they did that, then he said that he would actually sign off on their divorce, because he actually got like one of the states, I forget which one, to like mandate people to have to go through his program in order to get a divorce. And he had something like a 90% success rate of people going through his program and then being like, yeah, we're not gonna get a divorce anymore. And then they went back like years later, and still like 70% of these couples were still together, which is a dramatic increase over just communication-based marriage counseling. Because again, you can find a way to communicate very effectively to your partner that I don't love you anymore and I'd like you out of the house. See the picture in the Discord of the guy with the stand full of roses. He's trying to get back in. His wife is like, I'm communicating to you that you're a word I'm not going to say. But
yeah, but I think the point of the learning to communicate is not necessarily learning to talk to one another.
Mm-hmm.
It's learning to tell each other up front what you need in the relationship.
This is fair. I think you can also kind of get around a little bit if like, so my current pastor right now, who's the one I found out about this book, it is now required reading. If you're going to get married by him in his church, you have to have read this book and be able to answer questions about it. Both parties in the marriage have to have read the book and be able to answer questions about it. That's a requirement. because he wants to have a good marriage rate. He doesn't want to have someone, I'm going to get married, and then they get divorced like 3 years later, and they're like, I blame the pastor, and he's like, yeah, that wasn't me, that was you.
So, I'm just going to start calling him my mentor.
Okay.
Even though I don't feel like that's what he was in my life, he probably was, even though that's not what I want to call him. But his wife was actually the photographer at my wedding.
Okay.
And she has photographed, I think, 6 other weddings.
Uh-huh.
Only one of them are still together. She said, I'm never taking wedding photos ever again.
So this is an issue that I have. I have stood up in 4 weddings in my life. One, I was 6 years old. I was the ring bearer. It probably doesn't count that much. The other 3 are all friends that I've made like later on in life, people that I grew up with. They got into their marriage. They got into their weddings. One divorce. One dropped off the face of the earth. We have no idea where they are. And the third one, which one was the third one? Oh, the third one, also dropped off the face of the earth. We don't know where they are. And it's like, it's not even so much like, and it wasn't just like, oh, they moved away. Like, they're still in the area, but they have like cut ties with everybody that they've ever known and become like hermits. And it's like, this is not a good track record, particularly for like a guy in ministry. It's like, I have 3 couples now that are all out of church after me being in their wedding. Probably not like something I want to be repeating too many more times, or at all.
I'm not sure that's entirely your fault.
It may not be, but I am the common thread among all of these people.
Also, the photography thing is not entirely her fault, but she said she's never doing it again.
Hey, if kind of like a 3 strikes you're out kind of thing. If I do this and it happens once, probably not my fault. If it happened a second time, begin to wonder. Do it a third time, saying it's my fault, but it might be up for consideration. There's actually an expanded universe Star Wars book called I, Jedi. I think it's by Michael A. Stackpole. It covers the personal journey of a non-Skywalker related Jedi. It's really, really great. And in it, he is going undercover to try and find his wife. And as a result, he's like a former police officer and all kinds of stuff. So he's got a lot of baggage and background and things like that. And he's talking about how in Star Wars, the gangsters and stuff are Hutts. And he says, so if someone calls you a Hutt one time, just ignore him. If someone calls you a Hutt second time, begin to wonder. If someone calls you a Hutt the third time, start hoarding spice and hiring thugs. And so it's just one of those lines that just really stuck out to me. And it's one of those things that I have appropriated into my language and into my life, where it's like, if something happens one time, maybe a coincidence. Probably a coincidence. If it happens a second time, there might be some sort of connection going on here. Happens a third time, we're done. It's like me and holding children. I do not hold children. I just don't do it. Because there's a family. They came into our church. They're lovely people. They had a son. They said, here, would you like to hold our son? I'm like, oh, sure. Everyone else is doing it. They handed their son to me. He immediately threw up on me. I handed him back and said, well, that was unpleasant. I don't want that to happen again. A couple years go by. They have another son. They hand their son to me. And I said, oh, I'm not sure I want to do that. The last one threw up on me. He said, oh, don't worry. He's fine. He won't throw up on you. They handed him to me. He immediately throws up on me. I said, that's really unpleasant. I don't want that to happen again. So I handed it back to him. They had a third son. And they said, would you like to hold our son? I said, absolutely not. I don't want to hold your son. Last 2 kids threw up on me. Well, don't worry. He just threw up a little while ago. He should be fine now. He hasn't really had anything to eat all day.
Should to him.
And I'm like, if he throws up on me, I'm done. And they said, no, don't trust us. He will not throw up on you. They handed him to me, and like barely was he in my hands, and he just pukes all down my shirt. I handed him back, and I said, I'm never holding another child again. And I have held true to that statement. I have not held a child since then. That was 2004? I don't...
I've held many a child.
You know? Some would say you're a better man than I. I'd say I learned my lesson and don't do it anymore.
I've also changed many a diaper.
Oh, I've never done that. Not really lamenting having missed out on that particular experience either. Um, I'm certain at some point it will come up, but as of right now, I have avoided that situation entirely.
So, what are you going to do when you have a kid of your own?
Like I said, at that point, I'm certain it will come up, and hopefully nothing in me will come up. But
And nothing in them will come up? No, I mean the holding of your child.
oh, I'll hold my child. That's different because then it's like I have a responsibility to not, I mean, to be there to do that. That's part of the package deal. If you're going to have a kid, you have to be part of it. But those were not my kids. They, they were trying to give me some sort of like valuable life skill, and I'm like, I don't want this one because
You can keep that life skill.
yeah, I don't need to be around kids. Like even today, as like as a Sunday school teacher and a bunch of other things, I have like a minimum age cutoff. Like if they are beneath this age, I don't teach them. I'm not around them. I don't want to be. I just want them to be somewhere else. And yeah, that's worked out pretty well so far. There's a couple things I don't do anymore. Number one is of course I'm not going to stand up at any more weddings. I don't hold children, and I don't mention preachers I like over the pulpit.
That sounds like it should be self-explanatory.
Again, I have mentioned over the in passing. I was making reference at one time to this great preacher that I knew and how much I was thankful that he was still around and he was a pillar of the faith and he was this great person.
Did he die?
The very next day.
How many times did that happen?
I'm gonna hold that one to one. I'm like, I'm not letting that happen ever again. There are too many preachers that I have too much respect for to let that happen ever again.
So what we're learning during this podcast is that Gavi is superstitious.
There are some things that I'm okay with being called superstitious about. As long as bad things don't happen. Like,
oh,
just like I don't there was one other one, I forget what that was. I don't even know, but there was another one that I don't do. I don't recall what that is anymore. But yeah, I don't hold children. I don't stand up in weddings, and I don't mention preachers that I like over the pulpit.
fair enough.
It hasn't gone well for me so far. It actually, come to think of it, probably should just include that to be anyone that I shouldn't mention anyone that I like over the pulpit, because there's one guy. I guess it was more of a removed setting, so it wasn't just like the next day. It was several months. But there was another guy that like I preached one time, and then before the next time I preached again, he did die. So I think that one probably doesn't really qualify. But like the one where it's like, yes, this man, great hero of the faith. I love him. Thank God he's still around, and he died the next day. It's kind of an issue. Although it did illustrate my point very well, because I was talking at that point about how we need to have like new people rise up to like take those positions because we don't know how long we're going to have them. And then the next day he died. So I mean, maybe it was just, divine help for my example, but that kind of help I don't really want to have happen or attributed to me at all, ever, or circulate around my name. You know what that's like, right?
Say that again?
The things that can get associated with you that you don't want to have associated with you.
Like being a millennial?
Oh, that too. Oh, God. I saw someone who was like on Twitter a couple days ago, and they were making the joke about how at the end, like they had this tweet saved and brought up that like at the end of last year they had tweeted out like we need a new plague or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, this was not what I wanted.
Yes. I've seen that.
And it's like
we need a new plague. Not my fault, guys, I swear.
well, it's like a line from The Office or something from Dwight when he's like in a crowded airport or something.
Yes.
But like we need one we need a different one than the one we got. We need one that's like targeted at people who are aged like, 20 to 35. I think that's about the right age range. And just, I mean, I'm in that age range. I'm saying if it purges that group, I am okay with going with that group so that the world can be a better place. Well, we're getting this. I would say we're getting this demonetized, but we're not monetized anyway. Who cares? My age group is not doing a lot to help this place at all. So, yeah. Yeah. Was that too far, Masters?
No.
Okay. Sometimes you go silent and I'm like, is he disagreeing with me? Is he processing? Or is he just playing Minecraft?
No, the server's down. I'm not playing Minecraft.
Oh, okay.
No, I was just looking back through our DMs because I've sent you a lot of things this week.
Yeah.
And one of the things I sent you was a breakdown of the word scimitar because we were helping Foxy last week with his character, and I thought that the topic of a scimitar came up, and we sent him a picture. But no, we were talking about rapiers.
Yes. You tried to convince me that I should equip a scimitar onto my monk when Kern was still alive. May he rest in pieces. And I'm like, so I had never seen this graphic before, but I am aware of the idea that the scimitar is a widely misappropriated term for martial arms. Yeah.
What is starting the 23rd?
What's starting the 23rd?
Or the 20th. I'm looking at messages that I've sent. Oh, I'm looking particularly at one that you sent right now.
What?
I just pinned it.
You pinned it. Oh.
Yes.
Now, weren't we trying to stay away from that topic?
I'm just pointing out that you sent it to me.
I mean, I thought it was funny. I still think it's funny.
It's hilarious and true.
This is about to become a PG-13 podcast.
No, I'm changing the subject.
Okay.
So I found this new game.
You mean we're going to talk about other things?
Permanoob. We're going to talk about other things, yes. I found this new game called Baba Is You, and it is a logic-based puzzle, and it is freaking awesome. I love it so much. So basically, you have control of a thing. Typically, it's Baba, and Baba looks kind of like a rabbit.
Okay.
But there's also Kiki and other things that you can be. Kiki just looks like a ghost with feet. And there are words on screen, and the words on the screen are the rule sets. So if you have Baba Is You, that means that you are Baba.
Okay.
If you have water is sink, that means if Baba, you, goes into the water, you will sink, ending the round. And basically, there's a puzzle set up, and you eventually have to get to a place where something is win, and then you have to go and do that something. Usually it's flag is win, and you have to get whatever you is. So if Baba is you, you have to get Baba on top of the flag, and then you win that round.
Okay.
And so you have to manipulate the rules in order to allow you access to whatever the win condition is. And then the puzzles get more complicated, and you get more words. Like there's sync, there's float, there's text, and they all interact with one another. If you make a sentence, that new sentence is the rule.
Okay.
And it's a really cool, fun logic puzzle game, and I have played it a lot. What?
What?
Oh, I fired up Fall Guys. So Cass talked me into buying Fall Guys. I bought it. It's a stupid game. I hate it so much. So I bought it and played with her. Because it's only $20 and everybody's playing it.
Okay.
And so I bought it and I played with her. And it's kind of fun to play with friends. It's not fun at all. Let me take that back. I hate it. I hate it so freaking much, but I can't stop playing it. It's so freaking frustrating. But I just fired it up, and Sass sent me a private message in Steam and said, "Run and win." Because that's basically what you do. You just run to the end.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen Fall Guys.
Not
it's
at
another
all.
Game, another new game.
Not at all.
It's stupid. Don't play it. I hate it so much, and I can't stop playing it.
I mean,
I'm a masochist. What can I say?
I have a solution for you. Just stop playing it.
I'm a masochist. What can I say? I also played Valorant today for the first time ever.
Okay.
And I kicked butt.
All right.
I don't know if the people I was playing against just were no good because I have never played before and it matched me with people of my skill level.
Probably.
Which probably you're probably right. But I kicked butt. Like the very last game I played, 2 of our team members quit at the beginning, and so it was 3 versus 5. But it what like you get it's. Have you ever played CS:GO?
Yeah.
Have you ever played Overwatch?
Yep.
Or do you know what Overwatch is?
I've played both, and I know that.
Okay.
Valorant is like a mix between the two.
Yes. And so, I was playing it, and it was 3v5 most of the time, and we almost won because I killed so many people. Like, at the end of it, I had 25 overall kills.
Right.
And the nearest person to me had 18. Now, granted, they have a lot less people to shoot, but still, that is an accomplishment. My kill-to-death ratio was like 1.6. I killed 25 people and only died like 14 times. No, I couldn't. I died 12 times because it's best of 13. Yeah. But yeah, I kicked butt, and but it stresses me out. Like, I was having heart palpitations playing the game, and I hated it, and so I had to quit. High stress games, I can't, like, I don't know, I can't do it. I don't like the feeling.
I mean, I like the feeling of winning, but I don't really like the part where I have to actually try.
Speaking of try, we still haven't played Modern Warfare together.
We have not. We need to do that.
We do.
There's a lot of trying involved in that. I'm just gonna let you know.
Oh, yeah. Nowhere.
All right. Well, that'll be a thing. We should consider streaming that maybe. I don't know when.
Okay.
You're still booked on Tuesday nights, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then when I'm not, I will be.
Okay. Yes, I got you. How about Mondays?
I have a game on Mondays.
What time?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I hate this game so much. Well, it's on and off. It's supposed to be every Monday, but it doesn't always end up that way.
All right.
Like it's Micro is the DM for it.
Okay.
And it's gotten so if he has to work that day,
Right.
which he's typically off on Mondays, but something he gets called in a lot.
Okay.
And so if he gets called in to work, then we don't play. And so I've jokingly referred to it as the weekly coin cost as to whether we're going to play or not. And so
Hey,
sometimes we play, sometimes we don't.
Real quick, Sass. I'm not going to go back and listen to this, but if you could confirm to me that he just said the weekly coin cost instead of the weekly coin toss, I'd really appreciate that.
I'm 90% sure I did.
Comment down below. He was hoping that was just going to get slipped through, and I'm like, wait a second. I think I just heard something.
I do that all the time. My dyslexia comes out in speech form sometimes.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it didn't even register to me until you said something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's funny, though.
But I heard it, and I'm like, wait a second. That ain't right. But, yeah. So you may have availability on Monday, but you're not sure.
Yeah. My main availability right now is Friday night.
Okay.
Which may actually be taken up for the next 3 weeks. Because we did a one shot this past Friday night. Typically, Bramble has a game, a D&D game with Friendly on Friday nights.
Yeah.
But some of the players had a baby.
Ooh.
And so they're taking a month off. And so Bramble has Fridays open, and so he wants to play D&D, and so he's DMing.
Nice.
And so he said he might do this for Friday nights until they get back on with Friendly.
I say Thursdays, I just picked up a part-time role in a D&D game. Oh. It's fun. I was only there.
So you're a reoccurring villain? Yeah, I know. I was playing on Thursday.
Okay.
And I saw that he was streaming, and so I got on there, and I was watching it. I wasn't listening to it because I was playing, but I had it open.
Uh-huh.
And then at one point I looked over and I went, "Oh, look, it's Gavi." Because your name popped up in the thing.
Uh-huh. So, how invested are you in the story? Not at all?
In what story?
The story that he's telling?
Oh, none.
Okay.
0.
Okay. I don't want to give spoilers.
I was there for moral support.
Okay. I don't want to give spoilers or anything in case, you're like super invested in it or anything. So after we did that, after I sat in on the second session in the Margrave, by the way, are we having regular D&D Sundays, or are we having more Margrave on Sunday?
I think it's just regular.
Okay.
This Sunday.
Okay.
Because like I don't so I started on doing it on Sundays to give Bramble an opportunity to play.
Right.
Because I know he feels like a forever DM.
Uh-huh.
And so any opportunity he gets to play, he likes playing.
Right.
And so I was going to do a one shot.
Mm-hmm.
It was more like a 3 or 4 week shot.
Right. Kind of a thank you kind of thing.
Kind of a thank you kind of thing. And then it evolved into this thing that we just kept going with. And like when he was DMing a couple of weeks ago, and then last week, because of people not being able to be there,
right?
I was kind of like, We could just stop and let Bramble DM from
I
now
have
on.
such good ideas for Rezo.
I know, but I would feel really bad if I did that, so I'm not gonna do that.
Good. Anyway, so after we did that thing,
because I think that whenever this story finishes out, I am going to stop DMing.
like permanently.
Well, except for our moving to Tuesday games.
Why are you stop? I mean, like stop DMing for the group.
I don't like it.
No.
I don't like DMing. I like playing more than I like DMing.
I think I kind of like both. I'm not very good at the DMing part because it requires a lot of back work. Is that the part that you don't like?
No, it's. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is specifically. I just don't care for it. I like being on the player side.
You like being surprised.
Yeah.
I think.
And also, well, I think what it really is that when I'm a player, I get to listen to the scenario and help my team come up with the solution.
Right.
Whatever that solution may be.
Mm-hmm.
As the DM, I get to come up with the scenario,
right,
and then have it completely sidetracked and obliterated by the party.
Goat farms for life.
Exactly. Like, okay, sweet. I have this encounter set up. It's going to go like this. They'll probably do it like this, and then I can do this, and it'll be really intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it actually happens, and it's like, oh, I'm going to one-shot him with a crit.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
We're going to banish.
That's cool.
We're going to banish 2 of the 3 bad guys.
Yeah.
In the first round.
Yeah.
Absolutely destroy the third
sweet
guy. And then set up on the
Cool.
other 2. So as soon as they come back, they just get absolutely destroyed, except for the part where we all go to hell. But that's all.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
And I didn't just swear. We literally went to hell. That was
Avernus, technically.
What?
But yeah, Avernus.
Whatever that
it's
is.
the first layer of hell.
Okay.
You should know what that is because I sent you information on it.
You know.
You didn't read that information, did you?
Probably not.
Even though you asked for it.
I was role playing. Rezo read it for me.
Oh, that's not how that works.
Anyway, so
what just happened?
I don't know. I was just laughing.
No, something just happened. You got a message or something?
No, that was just me laughing to myself about Rezo having read it for me. I thought that was very, very funny. But I messed up Friendly a lot because he was going to have me just kind of give a quest and then move on with everything, and
he should have known better. That's on him.
But he's like, so, he's gonna have like a murder mystery, be kind of like a murder mystery quest, and there'd be this hag and this thing. And it's like, okay, well, that's fine. And he says, but I actually he had discussed with me at this point already that he wanted me to be the villain, but at first I was going to appear to not be the villain. I'm like, okay, and so he kind of describes the scenario for me, and then he tells me about this and that and the other, and then he asked me a very dangerous question. He said he's also improv and leaving you a lot of things to say just while thinking of it as the character, and for me to actually put them on the map. And he's talking about he's basically asking for my opinion on what I thought about his plan. I'm like, well, here's my plan. And so I told him my thought if I was going to be the big bad guy and I had access to a team of adventurers that I could have do my bidding as the bad guy, but pretending to be on the good side. And he's now doing that instead. Yeah. I'm hoping that none of the girls are listening to this. I hope that they don't know about this at all.
I highly doubt it.
Probably not. I mean, they'd have to wait through an hour and 44 minutes to get to this point. I hope they don't get this far. But I had a great fun. I made up a great character, 2 great character voices, and I had to kind of like make them kind of work off the other So it's a lot of fun to be both Val and the big bad guy. But I haven't been able to be the big bad guy yet. I have to wait for them to, like, it's going to be 4 months down the line before I actually get to be the big bad guy. They're kind of slow. This would for our Sunday night campaign. The quest that he just sent them on would be like 1 week, and then I'd have to come back the week after, and then it'd be like every other week kind of thing. This group is a little bit more slow, a lot more slow. They spent about a half an hour describing the outfits they were wearing to a fancy dinner party.
Well, it's a bunch of girls.
Yes.
What do you expect?
Yes, but still, it's like
not trying to be sexist, but that's what girls do.
I mean, like, I would just like search the internet, find something that looks good, and say, "Here you go."
It's like on the Sunday games where Ducky has been joining in.
Mm-hmm.
She's been the mom of the group.
I had not noticed that.
Well, she wasn't there when you were there.
She was there the last time. She came late.
Yeah, at the very end. She did come in at the very end.
Okay.
But
I only missed one.
Yeah,
week.
the first week she was like super mom.
How so?
We would go to do something and she'd be like, "No, no." Oh, thank the she's her lids. But the party would say, like, Bramble would set up a scenario and we'd be like, "Okay, we're gonna go do this," and she would be like, "No, no, no, we're not doing that. Stop being stupid. We're gonna do this."
Everyone's sitting around going, "What I want to be?"
Because we were all chaotic creatures, and she's a lawful good.
Oh Lord, that's just.
And now there's a bunch of evil creatures. Well, not anymore because they all got killed off. But...
in one round. I'm still sad about Barkham. So
is Bramble. He loved that that voice.
So,
of course, I think he liked the Scarface voice more.
Yeah, it was fun. Not Scarface, Godfather.
Godfather.
So,
whatever.
I joined this Margaret
tomato
campaign the second week because it was the next main story beat of the usual Friday or Sunday night group requires somebody who wasn't able to be there. And so I created...
Well, it doesn't really require them. It would just be unfair to them for me to have to make all their decisions for them.
Yes.
Or for the group to have to make all their decisions for them.
Right. And so I showed up and I created this evil character. It was going to be great because I was able to play my first evil character. Apparently I'm not supposed to play an evil character because the first encounter we have, he dies on the second round. Like, not knocked unconscious. He dies on the second round. And I really liked him. Like, I named him Barkham Ill, or if you pronounce it more correctly, Barkamel. And if that's still not clear enough for you, he was the Joker in the body of a bugbear. And I was having a lot of fun with that for about 20 minutes. And then I broke my toys, and I had to go get new ones. I need to have another opportunity to play as the Joker. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
So last night my character was I got to play my sword wielding bard.
Okay.
Character. And it was a lot of freaking fun.
Is this the one that you basically stole the build from the build from Foxy from?
It's the one that I improved Foxy's build on. Yes.
Right. The College of Swords.
And so I was doing that game, and I used my Stitch voice, sort of, but then I kind of planed it out. He can't do L's. You can't do L's in that voice, apparently. But he was basically like this right here, and it was a lot of fun talking like this all night, and everybody hated it and loved it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
As one does. And so, yeah, and he wrecked face.
Were you around for Magicario?
Magicario?
It's one of Friendly's characters. It's the one character that he is most committed to the voice on by a lot. You have to ask him about it. Magicario is a grand abomination.
He's talked about Magicario. He keeps saying that he's going to bring Magicario in, and I don't know what that means.
It's a threat. It is absolutely a threat. He is threatening everyone at the table when he says he's going to bring Magicario
in. But he did play Beeps and used a voice changer for it.
Yep, and then we had a little bit of a taste of that with 6 of 9.
Yes, Sir 6 of 9. Which was originally Sir 6 of 8.
Yes.
And he was like, crap! I was like, so you're Sir 68? And he goes, crap! Bear back!
It is fun. See, this is the thing. We're actually going to have a semi-legitimate conversation about D&D at this point. I have
we haven't been so far.
No. These are like fun recollections of times that we've had in the past week playing D&D, right? Maybe a little bit farther back.
Past couple of weeks, yeah.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Up until this year, I never, ever, ever, ever considered playing D&D at all. Ever.
Really?
Never. I thought it was stupid.
I've considered it lots of times and just never had anybody to do it with.
I thought it was stupid. I thought it was juvenile. I thought it was uninteresting. Like, I wanted nothing.
Boy, were you wrong!
I wanted nothing to do with it. I thought that would be like the farthest bait. I mean, there's a fair point to be said that I may already be a basement dweller level of nerd to begin with, but I thought that was the point of no return for being a nerd, and just if I ever do a D&D game, I would be completely irredeemable. No, that is not going to be fun for me. That's not going to be beneficial to me. I want nothing to do with this. And then someone's like, oh, and then Kuya was like, hey, let's play D&D. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And he says, you can be the DM. And I'm like, I still don't want to do this. And he says, well, no, we need you for the voices. And I'm like, okay. And then I really liked it. Even being the DM, which I was terrible at, I really liked killing you guys. And also narrating when you grew up the 800-year-old elf lady. That was fun.
I really wish that you, now that you're in your new place, maybe you'll have more time for DMing.
Not yet, but maybe sometime in the not too awfully distant future. And I'm only... The thing is, I'm in this place right now, and I think I've mentioned this before. I'm going to just confirm it again. I'm only going to be here until my roommate's wife turns up from the Philippines, and then I'm going to get as far away from it as possible, because I don't want to be involved in or anywhere near what's going to be happening.
Why is jumping so hard?
Because it involves effort, muscles, energy. Or are you talking about jumping in game?
Jumping in game.
So as soon as she shows up, I'm going to get out of here. And I'm already exploring some other options in terms of what I could do for housing beyond this, which I think are really cool. Oh, such a good things looking in the future. I'm very happy about this. But that's in the future. Next couple of months. So I'm probably going to be moving again before the year is out. Lord willing and the creek don't rise. But I'll be moving into a much more permanent kind of place.
Yeah. I'm hoping to find a place to move to next year. Around March or so. Well, at the end of April is when the lease is up on this place, and I want to be out of here by then.
I've already found a place. I just need more money. Basically, I'll send you some details and stuff offline, or talk to you about it, just for fun.
Cool.
Yeah, could be really cool. Anyway, but. So I was of this mindset that I wanted nothing to do with D&D. I didn't think it was fun. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it. I thought this was the lowest form of humanity, the people who are playing D&D. Which I guess is more of a commentary on myself now that I am playing. but as soon as you get in, you're like, no, this is actually a really deep, really engaging, very fulfilling gaming experience. And much more so than really you can find through video games, because video games, like when I was younger, I hated the arcade style on rails shooters. And the more that I've played more and more video games, the more I'm finding that a lot of video games are just a slightly more expanded version of gigantic on rails shooters. Like, you have freedom, but only freedom within the confines of what the game is already programmed to do. In D&D, if you have the right DM, if you can come up with it, you can probably do it. You may have to deal with consequences of it, like groping an 800-year-old elf, but if you can come up with it, you can probably pull it off. And I really, 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 really like that. Not just because of the randomness of it and the chaotic nature, I suppose you would say, but also from like a narrative and storytelling perspective. I think I want to try my hand at some point on building a fully fleshed out homebrew campaign that takes from that does go from level 1 to level 20. Create a big bad evil guy, do all this kind of stuff, just to really, really, really flesh out the game and make it difficult and fun.
Yeah, that was my original goal too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized I didn't know enough, and so that's why I started doing this one-shot thing. And I was trying to, get my feet wet, try to learn things, and then I still there's a lot that I don't know, especially spells and stuff and what they do. I would love to get to a point where somebody says something, and I'm like, oh, okay. I have a gist of, at least an inkling of what they're talking about.
Right.
Instead of like right now they say something and I'm like, yeah, okay, sweet, while I'm Googling it.
Mm-hmm. One thing I would do is one of my great regrets now, in my looking back on my campaign. When we went into that one town that we ended up that I accidentally burnt to the ground. I wish now that that had been my opening move.
Burning it to the ground?
Yeah.
Why?
Because if the flames are burning hotter and wider and taller and everything else like that, then technically the flames would have started to engulf the enemies. I think that would have been a very intelligent move. If I had been DMing at that point, that would have been a consequence of doing it. Because I want to see those fun, like, crazy ideas just come to life. I think that'd be great. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you said, when I'm like, okay, well, I was thinking about the time where I said it, I want the flames to burn brighter because I'm tired of just being in darkness all the time. I was thinking that you were just going to make it like, okay, it's brighter, you can see now. And you're like, nope, the whole village burns to the ground immediately. And I'm like, well, if I'd have known that was an option earlier... Can we retcon this? I got some hit points I want to get back.
Oh.
Which again...
But yeah, you said that, and I was like, okay.
I didn't...
which actually had... retrospect, had I really thought about... at the time, I was thinking, okay, yeah, set it on fire, it blazes even hotter.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, where those buildings were located,
yeah,
at the very worst, only the roofs would have been damaged. And maybe some of the walls, because if you look at the topography of that area, it's very wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
And so they probably would have been stone buildings, maybe some grass roofs kind of places.
I mean, what I might have done had I been the DM, again, this is just kind of me spitballing, I might have had the player roll for effect. Just a straight D20. And be like, okay, the flames are hotter, the flames are brighter, the flames are wider. You burnt the entire city, the entire town down if you're rolling at 20. That might have been how I would have handled that. Now that I know more about D&D and things like that than I did before, which is kind of the thing. We're always learning. There's a lot of room for growth in this. Mm-hmm. Which is one. We talked a couple weeks ago about how some people view D&D as being like of the devil and things like that, and I think I think my new pastor is kind of that mindset. We've discussed that I'm playing it, and he hasn't looked particularly thrilled about that. Um, but
my mother has stopped with the whole "it's of the devil" thing, and has just gone on to shame me for my life choices by telling me that what I like to do is boring.
I go back to my initial statement on this thought track that I have discovered that this is anything but boring. This is anything.
Yes.
But, it's like no,
Yes.
like you can. There is so much.
You can literally do anything.
Mm-hmm. And
It's like this is how I like growing up. D&D is how I wished video games were.
yeah.
That's why I enjoy things like Minecraft so much, is because you can almost do anything.
Mm-hmm. With the right mods, you can.
But with the right mods, you probably can do anything. But with D&D, you literally can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
It may not work out the way you want it to, it may not go the way you plan, but you can do it. All it takes is imagination.
Isn't there a song about that?
Imagination. I don't know the rest of it.
Yeah. That's not even the song I was thinking of.
No, I was thinking Figment's Imagination. Remember the ride we went on?
Yep.
It was much better the first time around.
It wasn't bad. It still had
No. The original.
Oh.
Not the one you went through.
Okay.
The original was much better.
I'd say it still had Eric Idle in it, and that's never a bad thing.
Fans of the ride would disagree.
I mean,
not me. I'm fine with it. I know it was better when I was younger. I think it was remodeled in like 96 or 97.
mm-hmm.
And when I originally went in 95.
Right.
Of course, I don't remember any of it, other than the videos that were taken.
But like, not having that context, it wasn't bad. And again, I like Eric Idle, and that's yeah. I'm not going to complain about being around Eric Idle or having more access to Eric Idle. He's awesome. I don't know. It's super TLDR version at the end of all the TLDR. Ooh, maybe that's the name for the podcast. Too long didn't read, or too long don't listen.
I like it, but let's figure out the wording for it.
Okay, it's got some potential. Too long didn't listen. Too long don't read.
If it was a review thing, TLDR would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not.
Yeah. Well, it is and it ain't. I am judging the world. It is and
you're right. It is and it isn't.
I am judging the world right now. Let there be no mistakes. Let's see. Too long, too late. It kind of has to keep that TLDR thing too.
Yeah.
Let's actually see. Is there another podcast called TLDR? This could either be, discouraging because there already is one, or it could be informative to be like, oh, we could change this. All right. Yes, there is a TLDR podcast.
Mm-hmm. I figured there would be.
It's all about stuff, stories on the internet.
Like I said, TLDR stuff, which we don't technically do.
Unfortunately, they did, however, run into some controversy, and they are canceled. So they're not making new episodes.
What kind of controversy?
I don't know.
See if you can find a TLDR for it.
Yeah. Here we go.
What about Lost in Thought?
Lost in Thought's not bad. They went to a different show. It's called Reply All, something like that. I don't know. Let's see. Lost in Thought. It could be kind of like a Lost in Space kind of riff kind of thing.
Yeah.
However, how much thinking do you actually think goes on in this podcast?
A lot, actually, especially this episode, mostly on what we should name it.
Well, I mean, like, you know, productive thinking.
Well, 0.
Exactly. We don't want to be, you know, hit for false advertising or something. Lost in Thought. Over-analysis.
Under-analysis.
Over-under analysis.
What's the over-under on that?
Not good. There's potential here somewhere. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I feel like we're right there on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It almost feels
and
like
I can't think and talk at the same time, so this is counterproductive to what we're currently trying to do.
Absolutely, you can think and talk at the same time. It's part of your TE function of being a INTJ. Congratulations, you can think and talk at the same time. It's actually how you do it. It's how we both do it.
Okay. I can. I just not without just randomly spitting out everything.
Thinking like deranged. What do we do for it's a tough one. Coming up with a name for a podcast. I feel like we've just come full circle on this one.
Yeah.
We could do TDDR or TDDL. Too Dumb Don't Listen. I don't know. This is I'm not used to having to come up with stuff like this. You typically only come up with stuff, and on all the stuff on my channel is like Sasquatch based, so it's super easy. Sasquatch speaks, Sasquatch survival, Sasquatch this, that, and the other. It's super easy. This is difficult.
Then you put me into the equation. So how do we peanut butter and jelly this?
Peanut butter jelly. Why does life have to be so difficult?
I don't know. There was something I was doing. Was it yesterday? I was doing a voice for something, and it changed from something to Russian.
Okay.
I can't even think what the original one was. Oh, I did a mini session with Monkey DKS.
Okay.
For his backstory.
Okay.
And I was doing an impression of a guy he was talking to, and he started out as pretty, I mean, not really English, just it was kind of like, just very casual, kind of almost Aussie. Yeah. But hey, that's rude.
It's accurate.
It's uncalled for.
It's still accurate.
And thank you. I agree. It is an accurate accent.
That's not what I was saying. That's not what I was saying. Lies.
And then for some reason I started talking to him and it came out Russian, and I was like, not sure why that happened. And Monkey went, I know. He got really mean all of a sudden.
Are you sure it was Russian and not German? That was not quite German. That's bad. I was trying.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
I was trying for. That's that's just random evil guy. I don't know.
Random evil guy.
Yeah, the REG.
Reg.
Yep. I have no explanation. It just, yeah. I'm not even gonna try. We could be the Rig Podcast, the Random Internet Guys. It feels like this was a lot easier before we were trying to put effort into it.
Yeah, that's because we said other things a lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, when was the last episode? I'm gonna find out if these guys are still making episodes, because
it was 2020. I did see a bunch of 2020. It was like, I think it was like March though, so they probably do it in person and haven't done it since.
See. No, the most recent episode one is June 1st. March one before that was March 21st, March 16th. February 20th. They were a weekly podcast. Well, except they just have random jumps. They go from February to January to November, back to October, July, April.
They're irregular.
They need fiber.
Ooh.
What?
What about irregular conversations? And we can be RC.
Regular conversations?
Irregular conversation.
Okay. That would be what? IRC?
IRC, yeah.
IRC podcast. I could deal with that. Irregular conversations. That's not bad. Yeah, we could. I could get down with that. It feels like the kind of thing that we agreed to, and then 6 months later we're like, man, I hate this. But and right now we're still in the phase where we can just be like, oh yeah, we can just change the name of the podcast. That's not an issue. 6 months down the line, when we have 3 viewers, I mean that's a lot.
That is a bit, especially when we've gotten fan art by then.
No. We don't get fan art until we have 15. That's years down the line. Years down the line. You're
thinking ahead.
Hey, I've had some experience podcasting here, so yeah.
Yeah, the more I think about it, I don't like it.
Yeah, irregular conversations. Pointless, useless, meandering, foolish. I got nothing. It's really, really hard to come up with this. Again, we just need to turn this over to the audience. What do you guys want to click on? What do you see pop up on your feed and be like, yeah, that's the one I'm going to listen to today? I mean, we're really just asking Sass and Friendly, and Friendly won't get back to us for a couple more weeks because, I mean, I'm assuming there's a reasonable 20-minute limit to listening to us before you just lose your mind.
I don't know. Sass does it all in one night.
There's an argument to be made that he's already lost it.
Well, we're all mad here.
I know you said no, but I'm just throwing it out here again. It's not too late to pick up a Bearded Above and Below.
No, it is too late. It's too early. It's not going to happen. No.
I think there's a lot of potential there.
Oh my goodness, no.
Let's see. This is really tough, man. Why can't we just have? Wait a second. This is the age of the internet. Let's see. I'm sure this is not a thing, but it definitely is a thing.
Oh Oh, I was right there at the end.
There is a okay.
There's a podcast name generator.
Yes, there is.
Of course there is. I could probably pull one up within 5 seconds.
Please enter keywords. All right. What do we got here? Okay. Got a bunch of, they don't really bring any of them together. Just okay, this might be too this one might be too good. Let's try and find one that's a little bit less on the nose. All right.
What? Wait. I want to hear what it is. Too on the nose. What's too perfect that we can't have?
No, I mean like it's just like not really saying too on the nose, but like too corporate.
Let's see here.
All right, so horsing around with Sass or with Gavi and Matt. Okay, let's just do this. All right. Conversation Academy. All right. Time out with Gavi and Masters. The Gavi and Masters taco.
No. Veto.
True stories with Gavi and Masters. The Gavi and Masters show. That's if we're gonna be that generic. Yeah. Gavi and Masters save the world.
Let's see.
Stuff you should know about Gavi and Masters.
I mean,
stuff you shouldn't know about Gavi and Masters to be more like it.
The stuff you didn't want to know. Stuff you thought you wanted to know but really didn't know in retrospect.
You were wrong.
What?
No, just I don't know. You were yeah. Real time, no. Plan of conversation, no. A breath of fresh Gavi and Masters. Let's not do that. I was in our hotel room. That's not a good thing. It's nothing fresh in there. 100% real with Gavi and Masters.
Well, that's not a lie. It's not. It's not a lie. Gaviopolis.
The Gavi and Masters take. Gavi and Masters perspective. Gavi and Masters view. Gavi and Masters ideas. Don't touch my Gavi and Masters. Right don't touch my Gavi. Don't touch my Gavi and Masters.
Oh my goodness.
The Gavi and Masters judgment. Also, or incident. That's not bad. Stay tuned with Gavi and Masters. The root of all conversation. That's not bad. The last word with Gavi. Well, we haven't get that last word yet. There's a lot of them still to go. Behind the conversation. Not bad. Gavi and Masters time. Yeah, not really liking too many of those there. Let's see what we got. Oh, I don't want to do that. Get away from me.
Let's see here. Horsing around with Gavi and Masters.
Yeah.
The conversation talking random burrito.
What the who to what?
The conversation talking random burrito.
Okay, that's a thing.
Oh. Masters and Gavi save the world.
We've not saved the world. We've
Masters
not.
and Gavi happy hour.
Well, we're
It's not
already
a good
over
name
2
for-
hours.
Let's see here. Fuck. There's no reason for you to know my location. Here.
Hmm. Let's see. These like are just this one just takes like one of the potential things and just like let's use only one keyword at a time.
My computer is hauling it. No, that's not a podcast name.
What's not a podcast name?
Well, it's the best podcast name generator, and then it just gives me a bunch of URLs. I typed in crazy Sasquatch, and it gave me crazysasquatch.app, crazysasquatch.blog.
Yeah.
That's not what you're supposed to be giving me.
Nope. Yeah, I guess we keep that going, and or we could just do other things, I guess. Let's just see what happens. Other Things Academy? We could keep other things and then just throw other things on other things. My favorite other things.
Other things with Masters and Gavi.
Other things with Masters and Gavi, that could work.
So I don't like it. It's too long. I like how I say things and then immediately reject my own suggestion.
Planet of Other Things. Other Things Rule the World. Seems like this one's kind of canned.
Generic.
A little bit. It's a little bit canned, but.
Yeah, I was there.
Your weekly other things, I guess. Let's see. There's again. This was a whole lot easier before we had to put effort in.
I know, right? We say we're putting in effort, but
I mean, we're kind of halfway
using
there.
random generators.
we gotta pretend like we're doing something productive.
Let's see here. What about many other things?
Many other things? Mm-hmm. Well, it's not really all that many. We mostly just talk about the Muppets and
TNT. Oh, I haven't watched the new episode of the Muppets.
I haven't either. I'm sorry. Like I was busy yesterday.
You probably haven't watched the last one either, have you?
Or
did you finally get around to that?
Not sure. If I don't remember, I didn't watch it. There's a benefit.
Fair.
There's a benefit to this weird thing I have where if I don't, remember it, then I didn't watch it. So if I've seen something, I remember it. But then if I don't remember it, I didn't watch it. Yeah,
it's annoying.
You're telling me. Nothing's more annoying than walking into the middle of a room and being like, "Oh, I know exactly where we are. I know exactly what's going on here. I'm not surprised by anything at this point." And the thing is, when you do that enough with enough different movies and things like that, you start to see other movies in different movies. So you walk in, you're like, it's one of those movies where like there's a secret bad guy or something, and you walk in, you're like, oh, that's the bad guy. What? No way. Yeah, that's definitely the bad guy. He's like, and here's exactly what he's doing and how he's doing it. And you're like 5 minutes into the movie, There's no way that's happening. Yeah, it is. An hour and 20 minutes later, how did this happen? I'm like, I told you this was going to happen. You didn't listen to me. Of course, I mean, I'm trying to pull back on my, like, ruining the plots of movies and things like that, but it's hard. Because I don't like to watch stuff that's predictable.
Well, a lot of things are predictable.
Ooh, podcast name ideas on Reddit. Why would this be a bad idea? Oh, there we go. Let's just in r/podcast. Let's post an episode and be like, hey, we're looking for a new name. What do you guys think?
That sounds like a horrible idea.
Why? I don't think that's
a horrible idea.
I just realized, like, the last Reddit post I put out there got responded to. No good. Yeah. Just a tough one all the way around. What's it?
I'm thinking.
Stop thinking and just throw out names.
Well, I'm trying to think of a way to combine other things with TLDR.
TLDR version of other things? That's a lot. That's wordy. Like, they'd get halfway through that and be like, too long, I'm not going to read it. I need to phone a friend. Someone tell me how to do this. Yeah, this is just like... Yes?
It's probably... I'm 100% sure this is already taken, but let's be frank.
Let's not be frank. Let's really, let's not be frank. That's a terrible idea. Why would you ever... You thought I was a bad idea when I said that we should use frankly speaking. And...
Let's see.
If you change it to let's be frank, I'm going to change my avatar to Frank. And then you're going to be stuck with Frank staring back at you forever and a day. And I know we both don't want that.
What about Lost in a Rabbit Trail?
Chasing rabbits?
Chasing rabbits.
Let's find that.
I like chasing. Let's see here.
Chasing Rabbits podcast. On Apple Podcasts.
Absolutely, if that's a thing.
The last episode was in April. They seem very... they only have a couple 15 episodes. They're all... some of them are really short, like 19 minutes. Is that even a podcast?
That's not a podcast.
If you aren't banging your head against the desk by the hour and 45-minute mark, is that really a podcast? Oh! Ooh.
Huh? Yeah?
Okay. How about Squirrel podcast? No, okay. It's worth a shot. One technical difficulty later. So I just restarted the recording.
Uh-huh.
I apologize to everyone who missed the last little bit there. Not sure exactly how much is lost. The last thing that we were talking about was the chasing rabbits idea, which got shot down. Just for you masters. And we, in the interim, we did come up with a name that was actually mentioned by you just before it cut out. We are going to begin trying to rebrand this into the World's Worst Podcast. And again, not entirely set in stone. We're still at that early stage where we can still change things up without disturbing our 2 viewers. But that seems like it's going to work. We looked it up. There's nothing else there. There's the worst ever, the worst podcast, but no World's Worst Podcast. So we may have got a winner here. Yeah. I don't know why my recording stopped. I apologize for that. It's kind of an issue. I feel kind of bad for it. But, I mean, I suppose this would be a great moment to say thank you for listening to the World's Worst Podcast. Woohoo!
I mean, that is why we suck so bad. We just randomly fell at things.
Randomly cut out in the middle of the podcast. I have no idea what's going wrong. I don't know what happened. It just stopped recording. It doesn't make any sense. But here we are. Well, that was fun. Anything else, Mr. Masters? Or do we feel accomplished at this point?
I mean, my week was rather uninteresting, other than the bits we've already talked about. So
I say I had like one more thing, 2 more things that were kind of interesting, but they're not really things I want to put on the podcast.
Yeah,
I
get that.
I don't know if they were things that we discussed on the podcast last week because I don't recall. 5-hour-long podcasts are really, really, really difficult to keep track of. In case that wasn't obvious.
It was a long podcast.
And I also don't listen to them. So
actually, total confession time. The past 3 podcasts I have pressed played on and then muted and let it run its course.
Like, that's worse.
Hey, gotta get those views up, bro.
Like I intentionally don't watch them because I don't want to artificially inflate the views. That's why I don't watch them. I mean, but
that's why I do watch them, is to artificially inflate the views.
It seems like we're working against each other at this point. We need to have a unified approach to this. Besides, you have to understand, Masters. It took me 5 hours to make that podcast. I don't want to have to go spend 5 more hours of my life trying to get through it. It's a good thing we don't swear. That was rough back in the day. Having to cut all those swears. That was rough.
Yep, I can guarantee you that's something I will never do intentionally.
I try not to do it intentionally or otherwise.
Well, I say do intentionally because either it's one of my previous games. It's been a couple of weeks. I was trying to say arse.
Gotcha.
And it was in an accent. And it didn't quite come out with the R.
Well, I mean, that does remind me, there's a pretty famous clip online of a preacher who are great people to have gaffes and mess ups. And he was talking about this particular verse in Genesis where Lot pitched his tents against Sodom. But he did not say that Lot pitched his tents. He said that Lot pinched his tits. And
that's not where I thought you were going with that.
That's not where anyone else thought he was going with that either. And there's a pretty you can look it up on YouTube. It's there. You can even there should actually be a link to it somewhere down like in the comments or something where you can find the website where the guy has like made it his online persona, the guy who said that instead of the right thing in the middle of his message. It's it's pretty great. And you can tell at that point that he lost his entire audience and that there's no recovering from saying that over the pulpit.
There's absolutely no recovery from that at all.
Yeah. It was like, a youth session, so they're all immature anyway, and then half of them are just thinking about those things anyway. Yeah, no recovering. Yeah. So, pending rebranding and pending audience feedback, this has been the 10th but first official episode of the World's Worst Podcast.
Yeah, so it's so bad we had to do 9 pilot episodes
to figure out how bad it was.
Yeah.
I mean, technically it's 9.5 because we had that one where there was a little extra.
Well, I was gonna say technically it was 10, but yeah.
And then there was that one week where you weren't there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I was there in spirit.
Yeah. That one.
Oh, one thing I did want to ask you at the very beginning: did you do a Sasquatch Speaks this year?
Yeah, I did. I've done a couple of them. 2 of them. I did my State of the Sasquatch. I always do.
That's what I was talking about. The State of the Sasquatch.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if you had or not.
Yep. I do one every year on the same day as the president gives the State of the Union address.
Yep.
Next year's.
Speaking of State of the Sasquatch.
Yes.
Speaking of State of the Sasquatch. Oh yeah, because you've done a lot this year.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever hear anything back from Lady Friend?
Which one?
Which one? Oh well, yeah.
The one
that was part of the 5-hour podcast. But the first one.
No.
That you ghosted for like 4 months.
So I did respond to her, but
yeah, you did respond to her. Did she respond back?
Well, I don't know. She's still not had the opportunity to respond back because the message that I sent to her still has not been delivered. Like I sent it to her a month ago.
Right. That's hilarious.
No, it's not.
It really is. That's almost like when I was probably 12 or 13.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of years that my summers were spent at a campground all summer.
Right.
My parents had a membership at a campground near the lake.
Uh-huh.
And we would go up there and spend the maximum amount of time we could spend was 3 weeks.
Okay.
And so we would go up there for 3 weeks. Then we would go home for a week. And then we'd go back for 3 weeks. And we did that all summer long for like 3 summers in a row.
Not bad.
And it was close enough to where my dad could go to work still. So he just drove to work every day.
Right.
And so I got to meet a lot of people of the female persuasion over those summers.
I understand what you're saying there, but nowadays that means a whole lot different thing than it did when you were meeting those females.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. Anyways, one of the girls that I met was actually from West Virginia. No. She was from Virginia. Her cousin was from West Virginia. And they had come down with their families and were staying at the campground we were for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spent 2 weeks with this girl. And we decided to try out a long distance relationship.
Uh-huh.
And so we exchanged addresses and phone numbers.
Yep.
She went back and still to this day, probably one of the prettiest girls I've ever came that close to romantically.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean sexually, I mean romantically, like boyfriend girlfriend type thing.
Okay.
Actually, at that point, I'd never even kissed a girl of my life.
That's
in my
right.
life.
Not everybody was a fast learner like I was.
Okay, I'll take that back. I had kissed girls, but it wasn't intentional.
Oh no, all of mine
Like
were
it
very
wasn't like
intentional.
I like this girl, we're gonna kiss. It was like a girl came up to me and kissed me, and I didn't like it. Girls were icky, but girls weren't icky. It was just kissing was icky. I don't know. I was young. I've grown since then.
I figured it out pretty quickly.
Anyways, so we exchanged phone numbers and addresses, and I'm dyslexic.
Gotcha.
So,
oh no.
A week later, I get a phone. Huh?
No, go ahead. I just.
What are you laughing at?
I can see where this is going. right about here is where Timon and Pumbaa start saying, "I can see what's happening," and they don't have a clue.
Okay, it's not as bad. So, because we exchanged addresses and phone numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, I spelled the city of my address wrong. But I did give her the correct phone number.
That's a positive step.
Yes. So she called me and asked me for the correct address, and I gave it to her.
Mm-hmm.
After confirming with my mother on how to spell it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we wrote back and forth for about 3 months or so.
Okay.
About averaging to about a letter a month.
Mm-hmm.
For both ways. Then the last letter I got from her was an apology, saying that she's sorry that when school started, she met this boy and she started dating him.
Gotcha.
And she was sorry. She was apologizing for cheating on me.
I mean,
and I was like, you live 600 miles away.
mm-hmm.
It's okay. We can just be friends. I'm not that kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote her this letter back telling her it's not a big deal. We live really far away. We can just be friends. And if down the road something happens where we can find each other again, so be it. And I wrote that letter, put it in an envelope,
mm-hmm.
and we didn't have any more stamps at the house, and my daddy was going to give me a stamp from his work.
Right.
Well, that letter went up on a shelf, and I forgot about it.
Oh, dear Lord.
Then we moved.
Oh, dear Lord. Okay.
Shortly after.
Gotcha.
So, the last letter this girl ever sent to me. So, on her side of the story, she sent a letter saying, I'm sorry I cheated on you, and then got no response back.
Okay.
She's probably still to this day thinks about that. I cheated on this guy. She probably's never cheated on anyone ever again.
So by accident.
But yeah. Huh?
So by accident, you made an honest woman out of her.
I mean, I will never know.
She goes to therapy 3 times a week. I can't believe all those years ago.
When she turned 18, she moved to Alabama to see if she could find me. She spent her entire life trying to make recompense.
That'd be so funny.
Oh. Yeah.
I
think about that ever so often.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember her name because she had a one of those tags that you can get for your bicycle.
Yeah.
And it just said KC.
Okay.
Her name was Casey. And I will never forget that.
I mean, I remember all the girls that I've kissed. So
I remember a lot of them. There are some that I don't remember. I remember what they look like or looked like. They probably don't look anything like that now, but
I mean, I'm sure none of the girls that I kissed looked the way that they looked like when I mean, I would hope not. That'd be, just gonna put it out there. It's been a while. like I grew up in the church. After a certain point, people start to frown on that kind of thing. What are you kissing her for? Well, I like it. That's a problem. You better stop doing that. Remember that conversation we were having? I think it was last time we were talking about love languages and how I have repressed my primary love language of physical touch. There's a reason that's repressed. I really like this.
I bet there is.
I really like this kissing thing. That's great. Yeah, you need to stop doing that. Why?
Kissing leads to other things.
Oh, I kid you not. We had a family in our church who, to avoid the talk, told their children that if they sat next to a person of the opposite sex, that the guy would get her pregnant or that a guy would get their daughter pregnant just by sitting next to them.
That's a bit extreme.
Oh, it's a lot extreme. And I'm like, y'all's is crazy. And what's going to happen is that with that lack of information, you're going to get your kids who are just going to be like, well, then if it's that simple, I might as well just do whatever. And they will follow that through, and it will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. You bet you believe it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was like that.
Yeah.
Like, and like, so it was like known at our church that this was a thing that was going on. And so, like, we as kids were told not to mess up how other people were raising their children.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you can't tell them, but that's not how that works. But you can't tell them. Can I tell them to read Song of Solomon? No, you can't tell them to read that.
So, my parents are kind of going through that right now. They have a teenage boy in their house that is a lot like I was at that age. And they are trying to raise him the way they raised me. And all I'm going to say is they got lucky with me with how they raised me.
They didn't learn that well enough the first time.
Yeah, for real. Like my mother was telling me all these punishments and how he's acting and how they're handling it. And I'm like, yeah, that's how you handled it with me. And that was not the direction to go. You screwed me up in a lot of areas.
Like, and especially
but with my personality, it worked out in the end. He doesn't have my personality.
Right.
He's not an INTJ. And you are pushing him in a wrong direction.
Is he an ESFP?
No, he's an I.
Okay.
He's definitely an I.
That could be worse.
But I think he's more an INFJ.
Okay.
He's definitely an F. He's definitely an I. 90% sure he's a J. I don't know. I haven't been around him enough to know if he's an S or a
N.
Yeah, an S or an N. But yeah, it's like y'all. It's like that's not the way you guys should be handling. Like, so they changed the Wi-Fi passwords so that he can't have Wi-Fi.
Right.
He can't watch movies in his room anymore because he kept watching inappropriate things.
Gotcha.
And he has to spend 90% of his time out of his room without games and stuff. And he doesn't like going to church.
Do they have any other means for him to engage himself?
No. Well, I mean, yes, but
what is it? What they got for him?
I mean, they have a pool.
That's not enough.
A swimming pool. But that's basically it. I mean, they have things for younger kids.
Like, I'm going to be...
that's the majority of the people that they take care of is younger kids.
Uh-huh.
But Yeah,
Like,
that's it.
I'm gonna be honest. You know what they could, like, probably the best thing they could do for this kid? They need to start buying uh unprocessed timber. Okay? And they need to get
Uh-huh.
an axe and a grindstone. And they need to have him start chop up the timber into firewood. Because that will get
Okay.
all of his that will get his energy out. That's what he needs. He needs to have focus on something else. They need to give him a chore to turn big trees into little planks.
What does a grindstone have to do with that?
Let's keep the axe sharp.
Oh, okay.
Like, think primitive. Like, I had someone come up to me at work a couple days ago, and they're like, "I can't deal with my son. I have to, have him um, at home because of all the schooling and stuff, and I just don't know how to deal with him. He has so much energy. I can't get him to sit still for more than 10 minutes." I'm like, "Well, what do you? I mean, how are you positively reinforcing his time at his desk? What? Why? What are you giving him that makes him want to be at the desk? I'm not giving him anything." Well, there could be a reason why he keeps getting up. I'm just going out on a limb here, and you have two
Yeah.
options. You can positively reinforce or you can negatively reinforce. Whichever one you want to use is up to you. Question I would pose to you as a parent is, do you want your kid to like you at the end of the day? Um, that should help you figure out the answer from there.
Yeah.
If you're taking away everything that he likes, again, the we talked about it several weeks ago. The lady who, when her kid, like when all this started, her kid was like sleeping in bed too late, and she wanted to get up early, and he wasn't doing it, and so she deleted his Minecraft world that he'd been working on for like 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that kid will never trust that parent again. I don't care if it was
No.
virtual. That relationship is done.
Yep.
He will continue to be in her house, but he will be rebellious. He will be unhappy. Like, there are some things that you just cannot do, and like
Yep.
that, I am not happy like any of the Minecraft worlds or things that I've lost, but I haven't put 6 years into them either, and I'm not
Yeah.
7 or like or whatever old he was, like 8 or 9, something like
Yeah.
that. It's like that is, to that kid, that is his crowning achievement, and he never got bored with it because he was still playing on it for 6 years. Like,
Yeah.
that was his life, and you just destroyed his life's work.
Yeah.
When you do that to a kid, it messes them up so badly. Like, it starts to sow the seeds that everything that they ever do is just going to blow up in their face, and it's not worth it to even try because it's just going to be taken
Yep.
away from them. And like, you
Yep.
have to find something positive for that kid to focus on. Like I said, I'm sure that there is some law against it, but if there was not a law against it, giving a kid an axe and a big old tree to turn into little planks is a really, really, really not bad idea, just so that they can have some level of feeling of accomplishment in doing something. Plus, it gets energy out. Plus, like, I mean, I love video games. I love our entertainment culture. I like a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of things I don't like about it either. But like, in general, I like movies. I like video games. I like. Clearly, I'm a nerd. It's a thing. It's not a surprise to anybody here that I like this kind of stuff. But I do understand
Yeah.
that it has led itself, that not necessarily that is to blame, but the culture that we live in that is so entertainment focused has, as we have become able to not do some of those older, more primitive, very time consuming tasks, has not led to good things for our society. It was a great benefit, not just to the household or to the family, but also to the mind of the person when people had to go out and tend the field and milk the cows and gather the eggs from the chickens and turn big logs into little logs so that you could burn them properly on the fire. That was a great benefit to the human mind and psyche because you had little successes that you could go through every single day that built upon each other and reinforced good, positive actions that you did day in and day out that really built you up as a human being. Sure, you didn't have the ability to communicate with people on the other side of the world in a half a second. Okay, but in general, you were a happier person because your life was filled with tiny successes. Now we're all about the big project and pushing on to something bigger, and oh, you can't do that because you have to focus on this other thing. And like, well, I don't see that forming into anything positive or having a genuine payoff at any point in the near future. Why should I focus on that when I can get the thing that's giving me the little successes while not actually being beneficial is giving me that positive reinforcement? Joe Rogan talked about this. I don't really watch his podcast, but I did catch this clip where he talked about how video games are something that you can be tremendously successful at, but actually accomplish nothing. And he talks about his experience with it, where he, like, for a year didn't play any video games because he realized that he was spending like 3 or 4 hours a day playing them, which was, giving him that dopamine rush, but he was not accomplishing anything by doing it. And that, I'm like, yep, I understand exactly what you're saying. I don't know how to, I don't know what to do. Like we talked about, hey, we want to play video games. I still do. I still want to, there's a bunch of things I want to do that really have no positive end to doing them other than just a simple dopamine rush to say, okay, well, I did this. Well, what benefit did that bring to you? Nothing at all. I am no better in my actual life position at this point than I was 20 minutes ago before I did that. And it's fleeting.
That's not always true.
And typically it is. I mean, yes, there are exceptions. There's Ninja, there's PewDiePie, there's people who are making millions of dollars playing video games. But for the most part,
it's not only that. It's not only that. You also have the like, there are certain things that allow you to I don't know how to word it.
Decompress, de-stress, things like that.
Well, that, but also, like, there are things that, like, motor skill type thing, benefits that you get from playing certain games, and thought process and cognitive thinking ability and logical thinking ability. And
to a certain extent, but are you saying that those are things that you could not get from, like, old school chores?
No, I'm just saying that there are benefits to gaming, and not everything you do in a game is pointless.
I understand that there are certain skills and things that you can acquire through gaming. You can have better hand-eye coordination. That's actually very well documented, that people who play, I think, 5 hours of video games a week, something like that, are actually notably better drivers because they have better reaction times and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, that is a very... How do I put this? In terms of actual accomplishment, when you're playing a video game, you're not conscious of the idea that you're improving your motor skills. You are simply developing the muscle memory to push this button in time with this action on the screen in order to create this result. Where did I put that?
Where did you put what?
Nothing. Realized I put something in a place it shouldn't have been. I'm like, why is it?
Did you just post something somewhere and
post it?
I got there just in time. Who are you sending that to?
You.
Me? Why?
Because you were talking about the girl whose cousin was in Virginia and she was in West Virginia and
oh. How long has that been in there?
About 40 minutes.
Oh my goodness, no. We actually had a foster kid that was my age and he took the cousin. Actually, the story of how we met is we were swimming in a swimming pool, the indoor swimming pool, and these two girls come out of the locker room and walk over and sit together in one of the pool chairs.
Yep.
And they were the first girls there of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I went, well, this is what we're here for. And he goes, so which one you liking? And I told him which one.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, good, because I like the other one. I was like, okay,
This works
we're
out.
good here then. And so he walked. He was the wingman. And so he swam over
Mm-hmm.
and started chatting up one of them, and he was like, so my friend over here likes her.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl looked at him and goes, good, because she likes him and I like you. And we were like, yep, this was meant to be. And we spent the next 2 weeks with those girls.
Wow.
Yeah.
That just went straight on. World's Worst Podcast, everybody.
Yes. You will never know what the laughter and what started that. Well, you might from what he said. You might be able to infer what he sent to a random chat in his channel instead of sending it as a DM to me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were lots of girls. None of them as notable as that one, though.
Mm. Yeah. So, in case there was any questions, yeah, I'm still an idiot. Yep. I definitely am still an idiot. That was,
Oh.
that derailed the entire conversation.
It really did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to be fair, an hour and a half ago we were winding down.
Not about
and
half.
then I got
Only half hour. Only half hour.
only half hour.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was just yeah. I got nothing. That was too much. Just a little bit. Yeah. There's no coming back from that. I'm giving up. I got to get up in the morning. I got to go to church for my last service in my old church, and that's going to be just joyous.
Oh, my condolences already.
That's okay. So that's not going to be that big of an issue, like at all. Like, I'm going to go there. But because it's funny. My new pastor's like, "Oh, I want to be there," and I'm like, "You don't really understand what's all going to be entailed here." Like, my current pastor, the one in the church that I'm leaving, is like super freaked out about COVID. So, like, I will be lucky if he like dabs some oil on the end of like a 15-foot pole and tries to whack me in the face with it, and then send me out the door. And the new pastor's like, well, I want to be, because he's assuming there's going to be like some pomp and circumstance, and he's right. There'll be pomp and circumstance, but it's not going to be for me. Are you familiar with the concept of a baby dedication?
Yes.
Okay. Well, tomorrow, I just found out today that there's going to be not one, but 3 baby dedications. And
why?
Because the people were locked in their houses and had nothing better to do.
It hasn't been 6 months.
You know, they may have started early.
Wait, no, 9 months. I know biology.
We found that out about my grandparents too. They also knew biology, and they had to run before the town found out. But that was
yeah.
Like I said, my grandfather has fathered 5 children. One of them, and it was that side of the family. So we're having these baby dedications, and my pastor, I love him, but this is the one thing where he really needs to try and process for a moment what he's actually doing. He has a very, very practiced, canned version of a baby dedication. And we see it, the exact same one, every like 6 months or so at my church.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a letter that he has written. It's a form letter that he signs at the bottom and then gives to the parents.
Yep.
For them to give to the kid when they turn 12. And he reads us the letter every single time there's a baby dedication. For each baby being dedicated. The exact same letter. So we're going to hear the same letter 3 times tomorrow.
Really?
Really.
Wow. My condolences.
And I'm like, this is going to be a tough one. And not for the reason that anyone else is thinking. Like I said, I love him. He's great. He's a fantastic teacher. I've learned a lot from him. This is the one thing where he probably needs to just cut the letter part out. Like, okay, we get it. You're sending him a letter. Let it be a surprise for them and for us. Yeah, just kind of one of them things, man. Just one of them things. But a lot of pomp and circumstance, not about the thing that, like I said, I'm gonna get I'm not even gonna get a pat on the back as they send me out the door. So,
That's true. You did luck out there.
Hey, remember, physical touch is my thing. I would have liked the pat on the back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I didn't tell anybody I was leaving my church last time I left my church.
No,
except for the people that would have to do my job while I was gone.
Did you tell the pastor?
No, I did not.
Okay. We may have to have an off podcast conversation about this. Or maybe tune in next time because I need to get to bed. Yeah. I think this is officially qualified as we are attempting now to accept the new name of the World's Worst Podcast. If you are enthusiastic about it, please leave a comment down below. Sass, please continue to give us all the many comments that you give us. We really appreciate those. Those really like brighten up my week when I'm reading through all those. Those are fantastic. Also, mildly frustrating because sometimes I'm not entirely sure what you're referencing. And I'm like, he's either really happy about this or not so happy about that. I'm not sure which one. But again, I don't go back to listen to figure it out. So, it's probably a problem. But, yeah, good things. And I guess we'll see you all next time. If you have anything that you would like us to discuss on upcoming podcast episodes, please feel free to leave that in the description down below. If you have any comments or feedback on things we discussed today, we might even get to address those in the future, provided we can find a way to incorporate those in. And yeah, it's been fun. Anything to say before we go, Mr. Masters?
Nope, I got nothing.
Alrighty. Then we shall see you all next time on the World's Worst Podcast. Goodbye.
Later.